What's happening out there, guys? Welcome along to another episode of 420 News. And yes, I managed to hit the unmute button there for the mic before I started talking for 5 minutes and I was silenced. But yeah, we're not going to be making that mistake too often anyway. We've made it enough now to kind of cop on and check. So what's happening, guys? Hope everybody is well out there. I'm doing mighty fine here, and my co-host also is doing mighty fine too. I don't know if you can really see this guy, but yes, don't really want to wake him. He's due a bottle in the next, he just due a bottle 15 minutes ago actually. But there's little Elijah. Snoozing away as always, doing what he does best, enjoying the heat from daddy, and it's keeping him asleep a bit longer. Yes, so we won't be doing any civil disobedience just yet anyway. Just got away for Elijah's other caretaker to come back and look after him. I see Toto out in the audience. What's happening, Toto? Up there on that beautiful west coast of Ireland. What's happening? Hopefully the dogs are doing good. I know you told me the name of your dog there the last day, but it's after slipping my mind there now again. Teresa's in the audience. What's happening, Teresa? Hi Friday, people. Yes, hi Friday indeed. I got me wake and bacon just this morning anyway. CBD Cakes saying, just watched the Phil Monk interview and gave it a 10 out of 10. Well, thanks very much, CBD Cakes. I really appreciate that feedback and that little review there. I really enjoyed the conversation there with Phil Monk myself. And guys, if anybody who hasn't seen that, it's up online now. It's about a 3-hour long video that's up on YouTube, but don't get disheartened by that. The actual interview with Phil is about an hour and a half long, and that video that I streamed it in the other day, there's about an hour either side of the interview there, kind of wherein just chatting with the audience. So do check that one out. And as I said, I'm just waiting to get the an actual version of it uploaded without that extra bit there either side of it. I'll have that uploaded soon, and the audio version should be up online as well soon for other people who are just going to listen in the audio only version. Barry Fields in the audience. What's happening, Barry Fields? He says hi everybody. Hunter K as well. Hi all. What's happening, Hunter K? Hopefully you haven't been working too hard today, Hunter. Scatnus also in the audience. Just made my 420 spliff totally on instinct. Had no perception of time. That's it, you've got your old body clock kicking into action there and kind of sending the signals there. It's like, hey, it's almost 420, bro. Teresa also getting in there that it was a great interview. Thanks very much, Teresa. I appreciate that feedback. And Scatnist also saying Phil Monk interview was deadly. Glad you all enjoyed that one, guys. I was really happy to actually finally catch up with Phil myself there as well. Getting to talk with Phil, it seems like we've got quite a lot in common, certainly anyway around our perceptions of cannabis and the law. Phil being a big believer there in that the law is a violation of your human rights, and it doing so under the false pretense that it's to achieve public safety, that kind of an argument. Yeah, Hunter K bored out of me effing not at work. Well, at least you're able to tune in here, Hunter, and catch some of the 420 news anyway. Little what's that? Every cloud is a silver lining. Hey, Johnny Finnegan's after jumping into the audience. He says, has no fear, I is here. Welcome, Mr. Finnegan. Hope all is well on this beautiful fRI-hIGH-dAY. Others in the audience, anybody I missed? Teresa saying here, we'll have that event up later. Just need a few details off ye. Sorry, being busy. All good, Teresa. I know what it's like to get swamped with stuff, so no need to apologise. All is good. And hey, John Finnegan giving the stream a share there as well. Nice one, Johnny boy. Legend as always, dude. So this would be the part where I would normally just pack up a bowl and blaze one up with you guys out there in the audience. But as I have my co-host there this afternoon, I won't be doing that. So if you won't mind out there, guys, I know Scatness has got one rolled up, but the rest of you guys get one packed up, taking all the hoot there for me, and keep me in mind as you're inhaling and exhaling. Or if you're dropping some oils as well, just as it hits the tongue, Just bless be to Martin. Hunter K is saying, been stuck in a meeting with some American lady for the last hour and a half. One of those team meetings trying to convince us that our company is the best thing to happen since sliced bread. Well, I suppose at least that's better than some guy trying to convince you that, what is it, that transgender just people aren't real people. I'm sure this is a lot lighter of a discussion, but maybe just as painful. I don't know. Scatnist, thanks, pods. Could be better. Hope you could just self. Nice. Cassidus Drogas, edibles FTW. Nice one. Cassidus Drogas getting in the edibles there. So take a nice big old chomp there for myself, Casa. Get the crispy bit, you know what I mean? If you're eating some edibles or brownies, I love the corner brownies, you know, where you eat that edge piece, always just gets that extra bit of bite. Oh, it's delicious. But don't get me wrong, those gooey centre bits are fucking epic as well. No Cassidus Drogas though, he's probably got a nice healthy, I don't know, have you got something flapjack laced full of like seeds and stuff like that, you know? Really good for you. I'm going very bad, man, with my diet. It's been atrocious lately. 100k, very true, I'm not losing brain cells this time. Billy Bonds dropping in as well. Yo mofos, what's happening? Billy Bonds, welcome to the show. And Hype, you're an absolute star bearer, man. Thanks very much for that support there. Hype getting in an epic donation there to the show again, as always. Number one supporter out there by far, and thanks very much, Hype. Number one supporter financially anyway. Always getting in some amazing tips there to the show as we go live. So I really do appreciate that, Hunter. And rest assured, all of the funds that do come into the show, guys, will either be used to further the show, to improve it, or more than likely to further the fight for cannabis legalisation. That's where the majority of donations go to come into this show. Some of them have gone to things like a printer, you know, envelopes and stamps for the November 5th campaign. That was, geez, over 200 quid there on stamps and envelopes that day. So again, all of that afforded due to the donations that have come in from people like Hype out there in the audience. So again, guys, thanks very much to each and every one of you who've donated to the show over the last, year and a half now. Thanks very much, guys. Really do appreciate it. You're absolute legends. And others in the audience, and also before I move on from that, just shout out to all of the Patreons as well, guys. Patreon.com/Martin's World. I believe there's 14 of you over there at the moment, bringing in over €30 a month, which is great. That accumulates there for a bit. So every month that just kind of accumulates up, and I'm hoping that maybe come January to turn the funds that are up there on Patreon into or as part of the campaign there for the Feed the Birds campaign. So thanks again to the Patreons there. There is some funds there, and we will be utilising those for that Feed the Birds campaign. Cassidus Drogas says, the hub not happening anymore. It certainly is, Cassidus Drogas. It's just, oh man, it's an incredibly disheartening job to try to achieve. It's just proved fruitless every time I've kind of gone onto that daft. That the prices up there are absolutely scandalous. The budget I was kind of setting out would have been about like £1,000 a month or something like that. But then when you actually take the rates into consideration, that just kind of messes up the whole lot. And also to try to get a place that would not look a bit kindly upon us. That's not been easy either. But it's certainly not dead. That idea is still there. I'm still, and you don't mind that there's actually a tab open there right now on my browser where I was looking at the most recent updates there on daft.e earlier on this afternoon. And yeah, I seen a nice office space up there. It's like 600 quid. But then when you click into it, it's a shared office space. I think the office is like standalone, but there's another office on the same floor opposite, which is no bueno when it comes to having an office where you could consume a bit of cannabis inside of there. So, but no, the idea of the hub is certainly not dead. I'm working at it. I'm just not putting it out there into the ether anymore because it's kind of embarrassing being talking about it for over a year now, not being able to achieve it. But still plugging away in it, man. Still working away. Hopefully, maybe someday somebody out there will just turn around and say, "Hey, Martin, I see you want to do a hub. We got an old room there in the back of our office, and man, it's yours." And if they said it was free of charge, that would be even more epic again. Keith Griffin, what's happening? Keith Griffin dropping into the chat there. What up, Martin and everybody? Sorry I'm late. No bother at all, Keith. We haven't even started the headlines yet, so no panic at all. Just over 12 minutes in, and we're still just shooting the breeze with everybody in the audience. Casa de Struga says, we'll open one in Malta. Yes. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, like, that there's been mornings now I've been waking up since that news. Like, yeah, I suppose the last 2 mornings I've been waking up just kind of thinking, you know, fucking hell, would it be worthwhile just to get the hell out of Ireland altogether? Do you know, just leave, just uproots and relocate. You know, and obviously coming back to the thoughts, you know, well, that's not as easy when you got 3 kids, mate. So it's not much of an option for me. You alright, little man? Snuggles a bug down there, nice and cozy in daddy's arms. Tommy O'Hart, still waiting on that bit of hash, lad. Dahi Dublin is our Dublin Dahi. We will be paddy last to legalise the green. Probably, you know, hopefully not though. I hope you're wrong there, Dahi, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we were. Pods for 420. Alright, that Barry Fields, Battle Clips, man. And Casa de Strugas says, I'm not joking, by the way. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the situation is there in Malta. You know, is it possible for a non-citizen to actually set up a social club? Is it possible for non-citizens to join a social club? These are all things that I've not been able to find answers for. But maybe our buddy Matt might be able to answer that for us, Casa de Strugas. But I suppose it is early days there in Malta yet, and they probably don't know the ins and outs of the legislation yet either. So, right guys, for fear of waffling on for another 10 or 15 minutes with you all in the chat, let's get stuck on into today's headlines on the 420 news. So we're going to start off in the Irish courts for the bad news of today's 420 news. And the first one is following a fruit and veg worker who bought drugs worth €11,000 on Instagram. At least that's what he told the court. This is the case of Jonathan Glynn, 31 years of age, who was arrested after the Gardaí called to his home in Rathgar, South Dublin, on an unrelated matter. And while they were there, they detected a strong smell of cannabis. So here again, we just see how ineffective the Gardaí are in their duties, and how from time to time they just happen to get lucky. Do you know, poor old Jonathan Glynn here, if whatever this unrelated matter was, if it wasn't to have arisen, it's probably safe to say that the Gardaí might have never detected his cannabis, you know, or possible cannabis operation. I don't know if he's engaged in the selling of it, but he says that he was arrested. The Gardaí arrested Glynn and questioned, and during questioning, he admitted fully that the drugs were his and that he intended to sell them. So yes, an operation there. So he admitted to the Gardaí that it was his intent to sell the drugs. He pleaded guilty at the Dublin Circuit Criminal Court to possessions of drugs for sale and supply at his home in Dublin on December 30th, 2020. So just short of a year ago. Garrett McCormick said Glynn said he had bought the drugs in bulk from an Instagram account, telling Gardaí it was all over Instagram and Facebook. So and he's not lying here, guys, you know, and many of you probably know this as well, that you go onto Instagram or Facebook, there's all sorts of dudes up there offering cannabis for sale, you know, whether it be through your DMs or whether it be complete random strangers just commenting on your comment that you might have made on a post there on Facebook. I've seen it happen. I've ran many cannabis friendly pages over the years, and people would comment, you know, great article, well said, whatever, and next underneath that, a guy would comment to him and just oh, got top shelf, grade A, triple A, whatever, you know, all of this stuff, you know, message me, DM me, legit seller, legit plug, you know, and they'd be using that plug emoji and stuff like that. It's fucking everywhere, it is all over Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. So this guy isn't lying at all. And at least he was honest as well about the fact that he was going to sell it. You know, he could have just straight up lied to the guards as well, saying, you know, hey, no, I just bought it in bulk to save me some money, which is the case for other people. But the judge in this case anyway asked if the social media companies were doing anything about this, and Garrett McCormick said the accounts would be suspended but new ones would appear to replace those. So effectively what Garrett McCormick is saying is that, yeah, well, look, we do stuff about it, but it's fruitless. Do you know, it's fruitless. We might as well be down like with a small bucket with holes in it, trying to empty the fucking ocean, because you know, at least that would be a bit more productive probably. Anyway, Kevin McCrave defending his client who had previously worked as a fruit and veg at a fruit and veg distribution company, but was laid off due to the pandemic, and said that he'd used the money from this to buy the drugs. So he was laid off, and maybe as part of being laid off, he got some form of a redundancy package, maybe, or maybe got a bit of a lump sum off his boss, an old bonus there for the work he had done. Not too sure, but he used that money then to invest into cannabis. Probably just, you know, he's seen an opportunity there. He's like, right, I buy cannabis normally. I lost my job now. I can't afford to buy the cannabis anymore. But I don't want to give it up. So I'm just going to buy a bit extra. I'm going to sell it to my friends, and that will cover the cost of my cannabis. That's a very likely situation that would have arose here. You know, just looking at the series of events as they unfolded. So you've got a man who just lost his job, you know, in a vulnerable situation, sees the temptation that is there because of the prohibition of cannabis, where you can make so much money for such little effort. And again, the risk isn't even that high really, unless you get caught. But again, you look at this, like the risk of him getting caught wasn't that really great, because the Gardaí only caught him by chance, you know. Like if you were a smart person, like you just make sure that you don't have the cops calling to your door for any other unrelated matters, and that way you'll avoid detection. You also, you know, loose lips sink ships, so you know you don't really start telling people either. But anyway, when the Gardaí seized the drugs, most of what he had bought was still there, and he had only sold some to a relative. He said his client was not a hardened criminal and had found a new employment working in the vegetable section of a grocery shop. So it seems like the guy's got an interest in vegetables, you know, whether it be the cannabis variety or whether it be the broccoli and cabbage varieties. He was working once as a fruit and veg distributor, and now then he was working as a cannabis distributor, which I don't know what cannabis classes, like would it be vegetable, fruit, herb, salad? Because like if you've broccoli, yeah, broccoli is kind of like a vegetable. Do you know, could you say cannabis is a vegetable? No, eat your greens, kids. And if you eat cannabis as well, unless it's decarboxylated, it's not going to get you high, guys. So yes. But anyway, going off on a little bit of a tangent there, Judge Codd said that Glenn's decision to use the money to buy drugs was reprehensible. Shaming ya. When he could have spent it on his young family. She said he needed to be aware that he was involving himself in a murky world of drugs which resulted in violence. No, sorry, he was involving himself in a murky world of prohibition which results in violence, you know. A murky world which the judge plays a much bigger role than this guy here. What's his name again? Jonathan Glynn. So the judge here is playing a far, far bigger role than Jonathan Glynn in the prohibition of drugs which results in violence. But the judge, you know, obviously very biased in their position, sees no wrong in their actions, and you know, only can see reprehensivity within the actions of Mr. Glynn. Like, shame on this judge. But at the same time, you know, the judge did show a bit of leniency towards this individual who had admitted to the sale and supply of cannabis and a large amount, you know, just another €2,000 worth of cannabis there, and he would have been facing a 10-year minimum mandatory because of the quantity of drugs. But in this case anyway, the judge suspended a 3-year prison sentence on condition he engages with the probation services for just 1 year. So a very, very good outcome for the individual in this case. He does get a conviction, but it's a suspended prison sentence when in reality he probably should have got a 3-year like sentence easy. Like, he got caught with €11,000 worth of cannabis according to the Gardaí. 13,000 is a 10-year minimum mandatory, so like just a €2,000 difference there. And he got off with like no prison time whatsoever. that just goes again to tell you, you know, that the prohibition of cannabis, it has no place in society. You know, we're not even locking up the people who get caught with a lot of cannabis. Okay, €11,000. It might not be a lot of cannabis, but €11,000 is a lot of fucking money. I guarantee if you had €11,000, you wouldn't want to be giving it up. So this individual, you know, again, should not have been punished. The court's time should not have been wasted as it was. Just to end it like this, to send this guy away with a little slap at the wrist, to go in and engage with the probation services, it just highlights again, you know, that the court system, the prison system, it just would not be able to keep up with the sheer volume of people they would have to be locking up if they locked up the people who actually engaged in these types of crime. Like, the prohibition of drugs does not deter people from engaging in drug use or drug selling. And our society is incredibly overburdened with the cost then of this prohibition, enforcing a failed prohibition that destroys our communities, makes our Gardaí ineffective in carrying out their duties. But the judges won't call that out, you know. It's the fellas selling the cannabis that are reprehensible, and not the guys enforcing its prohibition. Shame on those judges. We drive on from there, guys, where we go to another story. And I never put in the headline for this one, but it is a case of a kitchen porter. He was caught with €2,500 worth of cannabis down his pants. This is Rua McGlone, 22 years of age. And he said that he had bought the cannabis in bulk in order to get a better deal. He was caught in the back seat of a car. He was caught in the back seat of the car by the Gardaí, and the €2,500 worth of cannabis was found in his underwear. Now, €2,500 worth of cannabis, it's about 125 grams of cannabis. It's a pretty nice bag, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that must have looked like, but I'd say it definitely looked a bit out of the ordinary when the cops pulled them in. Like, you know, it's cops, like, you gotta, is that a bag of weed in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? But Rua McGlone, anyway, in this situation, the Gardaí took the cannabis off him. He was brought to court. He was up in front of Judge David McHugh, who refused to entertain the defendant's solicitor, who was basically begging and pleading with the judge, you know, to leave the guy go without a conviction, because he'd not been in trouble with the cops before. He's not had ever received a conviction before, and it would be detrimental to the future outcome of his life, you know, ability to get jobs, ability to travel. But the judge refused to entertain it and insisted on giving McGlone a conviction, and also fined him €350. So again, like a very, like, it was a slap on the wrist in one sense, because €2,500 worth of drugs, you know, of cannabis, that could very easily have ended with a prison sentence, you know. Okay, it was a first time offence, so most likely not going to be a prison sentence, but still, you know, it could have been in front of the right judge. But nonetheless, to only get a conviction, no suspended sentence or anything like that, and a €350 fine, that's not bad. That's not bad, guys. We've covered stories here where people have gotten caught with €4 worth of cannabis and gotten €400 fines, like an increase of a factor of 100 there on the price of the drugs. Whereas in this case, the guy got caught with 2,500, and it was like a division factor of 10, or almost 10, €350. Like, you know, it's almost 10 times less than that. Like, crazy. So a good outcome for the individual, in a certain sense, you know, that he's not going to prison, but still is, the two of them have been slapped, you know, with lifelong convictions for their possession of cannabis. And as I said, that's going to deter or interfere with their ability to get good jobs and to be able to travel to places like Orlando, Florida, which is always the one that comes to mind for me. Because when I think of traveling, the only people I really think of traveling for, you know, outside of myself, is my kids. You know, when I think of traveling, I'm just if I think of traveling for myself, it's probably Thailand, or other kind of exotic places. But when I think about my kids, it's like Disneyland and Orlando, Florida, and all of those places. And my ability to travel there has been hampered because I'm a convict now with some convictions for cannabis possession. Oh, what a backwards world. Endo with Amy saying here in the comments, I've been thinking the same thing about getting out of the country. Enlightened Lady Talker's content from Spain is killing me. yeah, I think Enlightened Ladies Talker. I've had her on the podcast there before. Check that interview out, guys, if you haven't already done so. But yeah, her content is very good, and she was alluding to me at the time during that interview that she was planning to leave Ireland, and she's since gone and done that, and mainly because of the laws around cannabis here. She just couldn't keep up, just take it anymore. She relies on cannabis to help her with mental health and with other kind of health problems there, as she talked about again on that interview. And the laws here in Ireland are just, they're just too problemsome for a person, you know, in that situation, to be able to stay here and put up with the BS that comes your way as a person who needs cannabis for therapeutic reasons, and to be treated in the way in which we treat people here in Ireland for consuming cannabis, you know. To be in Ireland and to be reading the headlines that we see, you know, the comments coming from judges and the supposed experts about cannabis and cannabis users, it's painful, you know. It's as painful as I'd imagine it was to be a gay person at a time when you would be seeing headlines such as, you know, all gay people are rapists or something like that, or all gay people are pedophiles. You know, that was actual propaganda about gay people at the time, you know. You go check out that 1950s anti-gay propaganda video, which is Boys Beware. That was the title there. I think it was just YouTube it, 1950s anti-gay propaganda, Boys Beware. You'll see it, like, and it's literally just a whole load of propaganda sprouting a load of misinformation that your young son, your young boy, is at risk of the the homosexual men in our community. Anyway, Amy also saying there's censorship left, right and centre when it suits the agenda. 100%, Amy, 100%. You look at the agenda there now at the moment, say with COVID, it's like, listen to the experts, take all the experts' opinions on board. And then when it comes to prohibition, it's just like, let's ignore those experts that we were saying we have to listen to, you know. Experts like the World Health Organization, experts like Professor David Nutt, experts like Dr. Garreth McGovern here in Ireland. You know, let's ignore those experts. Why? Because it suits our agenda. And Amy, you're spot on. Spot fucking on. And we need to be able to identify this stuff as it happens, you know, and call it out as well. Don't let this stuff go unanswered, because it's shameful when it happens. And it's even more shameful when it's not challenged. John Phantom as well, they've banned... Oh, they won't let me talk about my discovery, the most simple possible logic. They have banned the phrase, I call it, at least in one channel. Let's see if it's censored. Dynamic stateless computer. Well, I just said it there, and hopefully my stream doesn't get shut down, John. Scatna says, that's a lot of weed to stuff into your briefs or boxers. Man, you know, fuck's sake, like I could barely hide a 50 bag down there. You know, and it just feels too uncomfortable and just feels out of the ordinary. Imagine having like fucking, it's like 125 grams, like, that's a lot of weed. Hopefully he had tidy whities, like, because if he had boxers on, like, it's very hard to keep him in the boxers unless you're like catching the top of the bag there in the old waistband or something. You see, you can get boxers as well. There's really cool boxers you can buy up online, and they have a stash pocket inside them. So they're handy. Especially if you're going to the dam. Perfect for the hash. There's Martin going to be getting strip searched now every time he comes home from Amsterdam. And Scatnus giving a shout out there to Guru Ganja Goat. What's happening, Guru Ganja Goat? Shout out to the Guru Ganja Goat in the audience. Scatnus says, how you doing? No matter what it's valued, I can't see myself having plus 5 ounces in my underwear. Nope. Definitely not, dude. But maybe the dude just panicked, like, and that was the only place that he could put it, you know, in his defense. Probably just sitting on it. But the worst thing about doing that, guys, is if you stuff the bag down your jocks, if the bag is not entirely smell-proof, well, the heat off of your body is going to activate the compounds, not activate, but volatilize them, and increase then the detectability of the smell of cannabis in your car. So a word of advice, try not to stash cannabis on your person in the car, because again, the body heat increases the detectability of the smell if it's not in a properly sealed bag. So there you go, guys. That's from experience. Put it somewhere cold. A good spot to hide it as well, guys, is the petrol cap. If you've got like a petrol cap, you can like pop the petrol cap thing, not actually in where the hose goes, but outside it, between the actual, like, where the hose goes and like where your kind of car would close it. That's a good spot. It's on the outside of the car. It's very cold out there as well as you're driving. It's getting hit with cold air, so that decreases the volatility of the terpenes, which decreases the detectability of the smell of cannabis. So there's a little tip. Outside of your car, in the petrol cap part, the guards would rarely check it. Like how many guys, anybody out there who's gotten searched by the guards and they said, pop your petrol cap there for a second? It's never happened to me. Never once have the guards asked me to pop my petrol cap on the outside of my car. So there you go, guys. They might start doing it now after watching today's show, but look, I'm just saying, up until right now, that hasn't been the case. This little guy is still snoozing here. Thank goodness. Got a bottle here at the ready just in case for him. Indo with Amy says there's a protest at the Facebook and Google building tonight at 7 p.m. Yes, guys, shout out to Gripped Media. They said a video by Gripped Media has been removed from Facebook after it was viewed 500,000 times or so in just 6 hours. So that's coming in from Endo with Amy there in the audience, guys. She says they're playing the interview on a projector outside of the Facebook building, and that's at 7 p.m. this evening above in Dublin, guys. So if you're around Dublin this evening and if you want to get out there and check out that interview by Gripped Media, it got 500,000 views on Facebook in less than 6 hours, and then they removed it. So again, going back to censorship, it's a big problem today. John Phantom says, yeah, I leave it alone after this, but I call it logic geometry, a computable logic that arises from how connections are made and are broken over time. I plan to patent those 15 words. Nice, John. Keep us going on that, dude. Keep us updated, John Finnegan in the audience, walking around like he's got piles. Walking around like John Wayne. Teresa O'Connell says, thinks it's the Irish Inquiry, Amy. Hope there is a good turnout. So yeah, it's either Gripped Media or the Irish Inquiry, or possibly even both. Chilbert UK, good afternoon all, and welcome to the show, Chilbert. And Green Tea as well, what's happening? Green Tea out in the audience, welcome to the show, Green Tea. Scatness as well, saying also every bit of movement of the container where your weed is in will expel a whole lot of fragrance. So there you go, guys. If you're able to put it in a tight fitting container and having it like not move around so much, decreases the ability for the smell. So again, a nice tight sealed bag, not a bad idea, on the outside of your car, in your petrol container, preferably. You can also get these magnetic stash boxes for outside of your car, and they're like a really super strong magnet, and it'll like stick up underneath your car. Apparently it's for like putting in spare keys and stuff like that, in case you ever get locked out of your car. But again, it's cold, it's outside of your car. I'm just looking through your audience there, Teresa O'Connell. Shush, Martin. I'm probably giving away a few people's stash spot there. Sorry, guys, if it was your stash spot and you always choose it, I apologise. Just need to inform those who didn't know about it. Casa de Struga saying #delete Facebook. And Guru Ganjagot says deleted. Only for activism, man. I wouldn't be using Facebook or any social media, to be very honest. The things bring nothing but problems to your lives. If I want news, I'll go onto my Google Alerts or something like that. I'll go seek my news out. But again, as I say, only for fucking activism. I would not be using any of these social media websites. Barry Fields says, wise lady once said, delete your Facebook. And Greed T says, I double bag any weed I take out of the house and say a decade of the rosary for good measure. So there you go, guys. If you swing that way, definitely a decade of the rosary, or if you're a Satanist out there, I don't know what the equivalent of a prayer to the Satan is, but whoever your God is, offer up your prayers, to those higher powers that the authorities do not interfere with you on your travels. Who's the patron saint there of traveling again? Padre Pio. That's the guy I always see in people's cars. The patron saint of travelers or something like that. Geez, loads of comments in there. Adam O'Brien says, yes, Casa, Facebook is not a good place. Toxic cesspit. Guru Ganjigo, my smell bags don't work. Stuff is too smelly, Guru, yeah? All is good green tea, thanks for asking. And Hazmat58 says an airtight pill container. Yeah, airtight pill containers, very good options as well. And the amber plastic of the glass is also great as well, as it excludes light, and the light degrades THC into CBN, which decreases the potency then of your old cannabis. Oh, it looks like the handover is about to happen, and baby Elijah hasn't even woke up yet. So everybody say bye to Elijah. Bye-bye. Little guy's sweating over me. His daddy's hot stuff. I don't know if you heard that laughing back there. Yeah, so there we go, hands free. Oh, my arm's actually buzzing now. He's a little fatty. Callum Cully out there in the audience. Callum Cully says, I remember bringing ounces of weed to school years ago. Bang off it. And I had a few incidents in college as well, where I didn't often bring cannabis to college, but sometimes I might roll up an old blunt and throw it into my bag, or maybe just an old nug. If something was maybe happening in college, we might have had students with sensible drug policy events or something going on. And next, you went to class and everyone's just kind of looking at me, just like, Martin, that's definitely you anyway. There was only 12 of us in the class or something, I believe. So as soon as there was a smell of cannabis, it was just like, Martin, what's going on? Yes, John Finnegan. Smuggling lessons brought to you by Martin's World. Oh, I wasn't really in need of that. What's happening on 420 supplies? I just keep it in my pocket. Yeah, I kind of do that as well at times. Even when I travel with weed, I say, put it in the petrol thing, but majority of the time it's just in my pocket. Because in my own head, while I know cannabis is illegal, I rarely treat it as if it is illegal. In my world, in Martin's world, cannabis is fucking legal. I'm just discreet about it, but not too discreet. Because that just takes too much effort and time. And I'm a guy who's busy, so I got limited time. Don't want to be wasting it like that. Green Tea says, I put a smell-proof bag in a glass jar, glass airtight jar in under-the-floor storage. There you go, guys. People having to go above and beyond in order to keep their cannabis from stinking out the place. They don't want the guards to be turning up, because of maybe an unpaid parking fine or some stupid like that. Maybe your TV license, you didn't pay your TV license, and next the cops that are knocking at your door with their arrest warrant. and you open the door and they're like, yeah, you're coming in there for your TV license. And they're like, hey, do we smell cannabis? Fucking full on raid and they're gaff all over a fucking TV license. John Finnegan says, I thought Joe Dolan was the patron saint of travellers. Love it, John, love it. Callum Cully says, Jesus Malverde, Christ Malverde, the patron saint of narcos. I didn't know that. Jesus Maldarve, Christ Maldarve. I'm going to look this guy up now. Are you just making this up? Angel of the Poor, or the Narco Saint. Man, I never heard of this guy. This is news to me. I sorry, no, but I had to just go off on this one as I seen that one in the comment coming in there from Callum Cully. I'll pop it up on screen just so you can see what I'm actually looking at. 1 second there now. Boom. So this is what I'm looking at. This guy. Entif Confio, Jesus Malverdre. And I'll go back here to all and you just look him up on the Wikipedia. So apparently this was a real guy. He was born in 1870 and died in 1909. He's sometimes known as Juba Lord or Angel of the Poor or the Narco Saint. Is a folklore hero in the Mexican state of Sinaloa. And guys, you'd know Sinaloa if you're a watcher of Mexican cartels. Great show. Highly recommend checking it out. It's a great TV show. But it'd have you fuming, like, you know, if you're out there, if you're a supporter of ending kind of cannabis prohibition, of drug prohibition at large, you'd be watching that thing and just being like, how are people not calling for the end of prohibition after watching this stuff? Because it just really highlights how prohibition is just a fruitless effort. He says he was a Yoreme and Spanish heritage. He is a Robin Hood figure who was supposed to have stolen from the rich to give to the poor. He is celebrated as a folk saint by some in Mexico and the United States, particularly among drug traffickers. So when's his day? Does he have a day? Let's see. Did he actually celebrate him on a particular day or anything like that? 15th of January, maybe? It's when he was born. He died on the 3rd of May. His feast day is the 3rd of May. So on the 3rd of May, apparently, is when they celebrate this guy, feast. Okay, yeah. So there you go, guys. Thanks very much there, Callum. I really appreciate that one. I hadn't heard of this guy before. And I watched Narcos, and I probably seen him on it, but I just didn't really pay attention to this guy as it happened. So nice one, Callum. Let's drive on, guys. And I see a few people saying bye-bye to Elijah. Actually, before we drive on. Should have cleaned this actually before the show, as I believe there was a few comments coming in there last day about my dirty bong. It's got clean water in it though, guys, so don't worry. Change your water daily, guys. In fact, sometimes I'd be using this thing there so much, some days you have to change it twice a day. The environmentalists are out there now. See, cannabis is bad for the environment. The guy's changing their bong water twice a day. Hazmat58 says, Jesus, I remember fondly such times with my kids. Are they all grown up now? So, Hazmat, for me, I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I can while he's this size, because having two before him, they grew up incredibly fast. You know, you blink there and you miss fucking it. It's crazy to, you know. But I think, you know, watching your kids grow up, it really puts in perspective how fast time passes, and all of that stuff. So yeah, I'll be cherishing that. We'll do a few more streams as well as kind of on that topic over the next week. We might do 1 or 2 more 420 newses, but then we'll take a break over the Christmas, and we'll get back into it then after the New Year's. Guru Ganjago says, all the best, little lad. Happy first Xmas. Nice one, Guru. And Pods as well saying later, Elijah. And Callum as well saying here, yeah, I was the same. Everyone looked at me in class. Good man, Callum. End with Amy. Every time I start sweating, all you can smell is cannabis, so it doesn't matter where I stash it, I stink of it. Yes, be proud of that, Amy. That's the case with myself as well. We'd be down at the gym doing the Thai boxing and stuff, and especially if you're doing some clinching during the classes. And if you don't know what clinching means, it's when like you grab hold of the back of the neck of the other guy, and he's got a hold of the back of your neck. So like literally his head is on my shoulder, my head is kind of on his shoulder, and we're just wafting in each other's aromas as we would be stinking in sweat, like soaked in sweat. You know, and quite often or not, like people will be clinching with me, and you'd get a little giggle kind of at the start of the clinch or something, and you're like, why are you laughing? And it's like, smell a weed off you, boy. And quite often or not, like I would have been after coming from college, and as I told you, I didn't really smoke while I was in college. I might have had a wake and bake before I went to college, but quite often I wasn't actually consuming in college, especially on a Monday when I was teaching the class as well on the evening. I was kind of abstain until about 9 p.m. when I got home that evening, but still, you know, I used to always get the comment, you know, hey, you smell a weed off you. Scatness says, "Oh my god, Martin, I've just received a fucking TV license letter today. Thanks for the nightmare scenario. Guess this is the first year I'm rolling over and pay that sheet." Oh no, that was never my intention, Scatness. Don't be paying that shit, man. Fuck 'em. Civil disobedience on the TV licenses as well. Refuse to pay that stuff, man. Fucking another tax on the state for this virus on us. RTE. It's nothing but a virus on the state because they're just spouting misinformation. The fact of Vera Toomey has still not been on the Late Late Show. Appalling. Absolutely appalling stuff. It's like the how long was she campaigning for? Like when she walked from Cork to Dublin. Come on, like, come on, Mr. Tubbs. Like a prime candidate for an interview on the Late Late Show. That would have really been a value for the Irish taxpayers, the people who would have paid that TV license. Maybe if they had a bit more unbiased content coming out there, I might be willing to pay the TV license. But no, sadly, I'm not willing to pay it because a vast majority of that stuff actually goes to RTE and very little goes to independent producers out there. And I would imagine if you're an independent producer out there and you wanted to produce a documentary around cannabis, well, you could kiss that fucking money goodbye. There's not a single cent going to be going to you and your drug promoting documentary. And I'd imagine I'm speaking from a place of no knowledge there. I've never applied for money for documentaries and stuff like that. But I would imagine if you went and looked for some public funds there from wherever you go to get that TV license money, that if you mentioned the fact you're making a pro-cannabis documentary, they'd be like, nah. Let's blaze up as I'm going to be reading your comments there for days to come. And I appreciate it. Love all of the comments coming in. Let's blaze. Yum, yum, yum. Oh, down to the final few grams of Purple God Bud there, and it is a delicious strain. The flavours are just more pronounced every time you hit it. Excuse me. Jean Finnegan mentioning there that it's actually pronounced Jesus Martin Condon. Jesus Martin Condon, love it. The patron saint of Irish cannabis. Nice one for that patronage there, John. Is that what it's called? No, what is it? Sainthood? I don't know what it's called when somebody gives you a sainthood. End with Amy, what's happening here? So long enough. Comment that, dear followers, we know you are eager to leave the shackles of prohibition behind, grow and consume cannabis without the fear of criminal repercussions. However, we advise caution, particularly on social media. The law has not yet entered into force, and it is not clear how the local police force will be adapting to the new law changes. We ask you to be prudent and considerate of the core principles of reform, promoting responsible use. We are also receiving a lot of questions related to the formation of associations. This information will only be available once the authority is established and further information provided on how these associations would be operating. So I'd imagine that's coming in there from Malta. So Endo with Amy there sharing a bit of information. I would imagine that's come from a page maybe, and they're informing their followers as to the situation in Malta around growing cannabis and setting up the cannabis associations. So thanks very much for that, Amy. Other comments, Hazmat, 16 and 11 girls, blink and it's gone, yeah. Ah, yeah, sorry, that's the age of your girls there, 16 and 11, lovely. I have 14, 8 and 6 weeks. 5 weeks and 6 days actually, to be exact. But yeah, man, it's crazy. Yeah, I'm blinking, it's gone spot on. I've been their primary carer. Good stuff, Hazmat. Good to hear, man. And I'm just assuming that you're a guy, so you could be a girl out there, but I'm assuming you're a guy. And possibly your name is Matt. That's why I'm making that assumption, so I apologize if I'm misgendering you. But epic stuff, dude. I'm sure you're doing a stand-up job there for those 2 girls. John Phantom as well. Nicolas Cage is going to do a vampire movie. No joke. I could like suck your blood. Hunter K, hope everyone has a great weekend. 2 hours till I can go smoke my brains out. Nice, nice. Good things come to those who wait, and oh, that fruit is all the more sweeter after that little bit of wait. Daniel Berry, Chinese eyes in school. Yup, the cully. Chinese eyes. I tried to refrain from using that phrase on here, but it's one I would probably be using, like, you know, when you're incredibly stoned, like, and you're like, you know, and people would say it, like, you know, oh, look at him, he's Chinese-eyed. Like, is that a racist term? I don't know. I didn't really want to use it in case there was like any Asian people out there and they took offense to the fact that, like, you know, that you're referring to their eyes. Because you look stoned. But I don't know. What's other people's opinions? I might do a quick poll on that over on YouTube. So I'm going to throw that up there on YouTube. A quick poll. Is... Hold a second now. Excuse the caps. I have fucking cap locks on. I wonder what people's opinions are. Because like I was going to say that about Chase's photo. If you look up there on the fundraiser for Chase that I have, and shout out to anybody who's yet to get a ticket, and if you're looking to get into it, it's there's 31 tickets left now. There was another 5 tickets sold there in the last 2 days, so get them before they're gone. But yeah, Chase's photo up there, I chose the comment that it looked like he was after being partying with Cheech and Chong rather than he looks Chinese-eyed. Because I just didn't want to come across as being a racist. I'm not racist. It's a term that we used, man. It was growing up listening to that stuff. Martyrdom. DB Woodcraft says racist, yes. Barry Fields suggests that we change it to Omicronize. Omicronize. Hazmat says it is racist, to be fair. Yeah, no, I agree, guys. I'm in agreement here with the people who are saying yes anyway in the comments. I think it's racist. That's why I haven't been saying it. Right. Let's drive on. Let's get into the next headlines, guys, because we're almost an hour into the show and we've gotten 2 headlines done because I've been just shooting the breeze with you because it is fRI-hIGH-dAY, guys, and I just managed to get a bowl into me, so I am now feeling the effects of it, and it's great. Let's drive on. 170,000 euro worth of cannabis hitting in packages described as being coffee or clothes were detected in Dublin, and this was with the help of detector dog Bailey, and the parcels were originating from places like the US of A, Canada and Spain. They were cleared as items such as coffee and clothing, and again, you know, another load of wasted time by the authorities. The packages were destined for addresses including Dublin and Cork, and one man, a Polish national in his 40s, was questioned by officers in relation to the importation of the 8.6 kilos of drugs, or at least a portion of the 8.6 kilos of drugs, as they were destined for a few different addresses in Dublin and Cork. But 8.6 kilos of cannabis discovered and now going to be destroyed. Again, you know, you look at this cannabis that was coming in, destined for the Irish market. There is a potential to be creating jobs, creating an outlet for the community who consumes that to come, to socialise, to meet like-minded people, and to reduce the likelihood of them developing mental health problems due to the fucking social exclusion that we face as a community. Do you know? Just annoys me seeing cannabis like this constantly being seized now, and it's just never ending. And for what, you know, this 170,000 euro worth of cannabis, what's it going to lead to? We look at this next case where there was 260,000 euro worth of cannabis that was caught in a person's home. This guy was up in court there yesterday, it was. This is the case of Wesley McGill, and he got caught with €260,000 worth of cannabis at his home, and he's been given the benefit of bail under very strict conditions, that is. And then annoyingly, the case has been put back until May, because they give the time, give the DPP time to prepare a file for the prosecution. Like, what in the name of God did they have to do? What's going to take them 6 months to be able to put together a file to bring this guy to court and to try him for his crime of €260,000 worth of cannabis? Again, this just highlights to me that the court services are under incredible pressure, and that they can't afford to be taking on many more cases. And again, it's up to us, the community guys, to use that information to the best of our ability. And I believe a campaign of civil disobedience of many people going out there and just continuously just breaking this law openly and requesting to be processed for the breaking of that law. As per your rights, you know, you're protesting. You want to go to court and protest your rights by defying a law which you believe violates your human rights. And if you agree with me, join me. There's going to be plenty of opportunities be coming up where we can go out and engage in civil disobedience together, where we can march to the Garda stations together. And I hope people do join me and add their names to this campaign, you know, and get involved, because the courts can't keep up with it. Like, this guy's out in bail now. It's going to take him 6 months to do whatever they're doing above there in the DPP to put together his file. Like, by the time this guy comes around again in 6 months, he's probably just going to get an out slap on the wrist, you know, maybe a 3-year sentence or something with the final year suspended, you know, or maybe a 5-year sentence with 2 years suspended or something along those lines. But it's like, for what? Like, what's he done? Who's he hurting? He's hurting nobody. The only law he's breaking, really, like, you know, and shout out the Phil Monk, is possession of cannabis without a license. And as we all know, they don't afford us an opportunity to get a license to be able to possess this and sell this. So people have no choice but to break this law. And then the government, the authorities, are just wasting our funds, wasting our resources, imposing their will on us. None of us want this. Like, the majority of the public don't want this prohibition. But we're stuck with it. Whoop whoop, it's 4:20, guys. It is 4:20 over in, let's have a look. Azores and Cape Verde. So shout out to the Azores Islands and Cape Verde. Let's blaze one up, shall we, before we bunk onto the next headline. And I think Casa de Stroyas might be over in the Azores. If you are Casa, if you're over in the Azores, dude, happy 420. We blaze one up. Whoop whoop. One of my 5 a day. Gotta get your greens in. How's our poll doing? 14 votes, 71% yes, 30% or 29% no. Let's end it there, because I pretty much agree with that there. It's like, yeah, it's pretty racist. But come on, like, all jokes aside, you know, if it's like just you and your buddy inside in a room and like neither of you are Asian and one of you are incredibly stoned, like, you're most likely going to turn around and go, ah, look at the big Chinese eyes in you. Excuse me, guys. Right, let's drive on into the next headline. And the next headline, guys, is a huge spike in cash seized as Gardaí deliver a 135 million blow to Irish crime. Did I get the right headline? No, that's the wrong headline there. 1 second, let me share this out. There we go. Boom. So, huge spike in drugs and cash seized as Gardaí deliver 135 million hammer blow to Irish crime. And it says that's almost triple the estimated 47 million in cocaine, heroin, and cannabis and hard cash that was seized from criminals in the whole of last year. And it's also 5 times more than what was seized in 2019, guys, if you believe that. And why is that, guys? What was going on in 2019, let's say, that's not going on in 2021? Well, for one, we were free as people. We weren't under these fucking harsh restrictions. We were able to actually go out and enjoy our nightlife and stuff like that to some extent. So again, this pandemic has led to a massive increase of drug seizures. That's really what the headline should say. It's not because the Gardaí are getting more effective in their work. It's just because there's a lot more Gardaí free now to go after drugs. And drugs are a high priority, they're a higher priority than domestic violence, Shout out to all the abused people out there whose phone call went unanswered, of which there are many, apparently in the thousands, multiple thousands of unanswered fucking domestic violence calls, gone unanswered. But meanwhile, the prohibition of drugs, it's like, the Gardaí are out there in full fucking effort, full effect on that thing. Mad to see. But like, again, you look at the media's biased as well in this, in the headline, I'll pop it up on screen there again, that the Gardaí deliver a 135 million hammer blow to Irish crime. Okay, 135 million hammer blow to Irish crime. So what's the headline? So when we're going to be talking about the blow to the Irish taxpayers, from say the missed opportunity for the taxes that could have been made off of the legal sale of cannabis, or let's say the amount of money that's after being put into fighting this, fighting prohibition, or what are we going to say about the billions of euro that were made at the same time, because while Gardaí might have a massive 135 million blow to crime, like these guys are making billions here in Ireland. Like, you see the seizures that have been made there coming through here. Like, Ireland is a hub. Like, we're a place that the drugs will come from South America, land in Ireland, and then be redistributed across the rest of Europe. And that's been known for quite some time. So there's a lot of drugs come through Ireland. But we just look at cannabis just for the sake of this show. And there's some massive seizures of cannabis that have been made over the years. But off the back of that, like, that's a missed opportunity for taxpayers to make money. And again, we look at that Galway headline that was featured on Monday's 420 News, where they talk about, the Gardaí stopped 10% of drugs. Well, if it's 10%, then what they're saying is that the Gardaí got 135 million, the criminals got 1.35 billion. Do you know? That's kind of what they're going on out there. Well, no, sorry, they got 1.20 billion because you've to, or no, 1.2 billion because you have to take the 135 out, the 135 million out. That's 90%. Yeah. So 1.2 billion. That's what the criminals get. So it's like, yeah, happy days. It's like 10% tax there. It's like our industry is not taxed anyway. So the criminals effectively made 1.2 billion euro and you only had to pay a 10% tax on it. This is what we're looking at. But this is where actually then paying as taxpayers. Like, we look at Operation Tara for an example. What was Operation Tara costing us when I broke down the cost of that? It was a conservative cost. I think I was saying somewhere in the region of like 14 million euro or something like that, just looking at the wages of the Gardaí, not even looking at the extra expenses there, such as, I don't know, if they're doing like fucking extra time, if the fuel that they use and all of the other stuff that they might engage in. So again, it's we're picking up that bill. So I'll just pop up the headline again just one last time because, like, the media are glorifying this prohibition here. Like, they're making it out as if the Gardaí are doing a great job. But you could very easily rewrite that headline to say, Gardaí only 10% effective as criminals make off into the sunset with 1.2 billion euro of untaxed money. Do you know? How many people then employed in that industry distributing that and have been violated, of their rights to be protected as employees, as workers? No, we won't talk about that, we'll just make it out as if prohibition is a great thing and that it's working wonders, that's really fucking annoying. But yeah, that's up there on, I don't know, was that on the Sun or something like that, one of those places anyway. But again, it's the Irish Mirror, that's what it was, up in the Irish Mirror. Anything else of interest within that there? There were more than 250 seizures in all, but some were of small amounts. So that was in 2020, I believe. 2021, there was 250 seizures altogether in this year. And then it says, however, 189 separate seizures made so far this year were of more than €50,000, and their total value was just over €135 million. Yeah, just looking through this headline there. It's a long the article. It's a big enough article. They've a bit in here as well. The seizure started in the first weeks of 2021 with the capture of 1 million in cash by the Drug and Organised Crime Bureau in an operation on the M7 in County Kildare on January 8. She also says that just last month the DOCB and the Revenue seized cocaine, heroin and cannabis that had been shipped into Dublin port in a container by a coalition of criminals who had pooled their money to buy the drugs from Dublin. That was the interception that was made over in Holland, actually. I think this was actually made, and then it was shipped over here to Ireland, I think. If that's the one I'm thinking of, I don't know. No, that was worth billions, actually, wasn't it? That seizure that was made over there. So they mightn't have included that here in the figures, as the seizure was not actually made in Ireland. But they go on to say then that the same tactic was used by the gangs, including the Kinahan cartel, when they tried to smuggle a massive 35 million worth of cocaine into Ireland, hidden in charcoal in July, but that was also intercepted. And the criminals also lost 12 million worth of cocaine when it was intercepted at Ringaskiddy port in Cork in February. I'm just going to go up here onto a page, the Irish Gangland Intel, as our old bio that we just mentioned actually popped up in that there the other night. Oops. We can answer that there in a bit. I believe that's the electrician. Where is he now? I'm just trying to find him. There he is. There's our bio. Boom. So you might recognize this guy. So this is Lee McGregor. I think that's Conor McGregor's brother, is it? I'm not too sure who Lee McGregor is. I think it's McGregor. I'm just thinking he's like one of the McGregors. But he's pictured alongside your man Kinahan, like Daniel Kinahan, this apparently in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. So what's he saying? Surround yourself with positive people who are going to push you towards greatness. Good catch up with top people today. And that's the guy he gets pictured with. Also pictured alongside him as well is UFC fighter Darren Till. So Darren Till up here pictured alongside of Mr. Kinahan. And he says Daniel Kinahan is advising Eddie Hearn, and Al Heyman is advising Leonard Elibre for Eddie Hearn and Leonard Elibre for to fight. And he's wishing him good luck. I'm rooting for you, son. Hope it's on at Days in Boxing. So like this is where these guys are. Like this guy apparently headed the Kinahan gang, for taking after his dad, who's a Christy Kinahan. So you have to wonder, what's going on out there. If these guys are able to get up there and our Gardaí are getting praised as doing a good job, it's just like, are they really doing a good job? And again, I will always come back and go back to the film and the conspiracies around things. Like that guy at the head of MOAC, Mr. O'Sullivan. What's his name? Michael O'Sullivan? There we go. O'Sullivan at MOAC. I keep forgetting his first name. Michael O'Sullivan. Yeah, there we go. Michael O'Sullivan. Who was once ahead of the drug squad above in Dublin back in the 80s. He was out there chasing Daddy Kinahan. And now since, the boys managed to coexist for years, never really catching him, but catching other people around him, Other smaller people would have fell under the thing, and helped Mr. O'Sullivan up through the ranks. Michael O'Sullivan, managed to graduate to a prominent position within the Marine and Operation MOAC, Marine Operation Control Centre, is it? Marine Maritime Analysis and Operations Centre Narcotics, MOAC with a dash N. And they're based over in Portugal, who, funnily enough, have decriminalised all drugs. But I don't know, I always speculate that possibly, you know, the Kinahans had some fucking top ties there within the law ranks, and that's how they managed to kind of continue their business as they did. You know, and which led to the deaths of people like, you know, Veronica Guerin and countless others. Not saying the Kinahans were involved in that, but no, just the whole underworld at large in Ireland at that time. And people like Michael O'Sullivan now, like he's over there in Europe, you know, on a nice cushy, probably, I don't know, maybe a nice 6-figure job for himself, possibly. You know, a 6-figure salary there. That's a nice old income to be getting off of the back of that. And for what? For what? Like he's done nothing. Like the drugs are everywhere. So yeah, just kind of gone off in a small bit of a tangent there, but you know, just to bring it all back, like the media making it out as if prohibition is working. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. And some of the top guys from the criminal network now in Ireland, you know, as I picture them up there, are doing pretty well for themselves. And you wonder why, like, you know, is it a potential that he made a load of money there from the sale and supply of drugs, from the bloodshed, the violence in Ireland, and then invested that money into the fighters? It's pretty easy to kind of be able to give a guy, a fighter, a couple of £100 there cash a week, to be fair, like, and then that fighter is yours. You know, you promote him, he gets into business, and next all of a sudden you got a lot of clean money coming your way, like, you know, you're just like, you're a legitimate promoter now, you're a legitimate businessman. But meanwhile, you know, the family's probably still at large, you know what I mean? All of the infrastructure that he was once involved in is probably still there. Like, whether he's involved with it or not right now, I don't know. But he's a Kinahan, like, do you know what I mean? Right, let's go back and the highlight a good person in Ireland, Mr. Dr. Garreth McGovern. As Dr. Garreth McGovern was on the radio again on Wednesday. This was on FM 104, where he was calling for a rational debate on cannabis legalisation, following on from the groundbreaking moves that were made there in Malta when cannabis was officially legalised over there. Not in a large sense, but just in a small way. Cultivation and the associations were legalised. And Garreth McGovern was asked to come on FM 104, where he done a tremendous job and, you know, made some great points on there. I'm just going to bring him up. Just bring up the headline there again. Garreth McGovern arguing here. He says, I would argue that we need a regulated system, a system that makes cannabis legal for cultivation and consumption. And, you know, that's a great point to be making, because if we were able to legally consume or grow and consume our own cannabis, then people like that we mentioned in the last headline, they won't be able to make so much fucking money across the island of Ireland, and to put our young people in harm's way. Like, you've 12-year-olds out there at the moment, and they're using Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok and stuff like that, and don't be trying to tell me that they're not going to be getting drugs offered to them via these platforms, when I know full well, myself being on these platforms, that it's not that hard to be offered them. All you have to do is like the right post or be in the right spot. You just sometimes get unsolicited messages just coming into your message box too. And as the cops say, like, you know, these accounts pop up. I think it was said there recently that Facebook delete 2 billion fake accounts every year, is it? I think it's every year. How many fake accounts does Facebook delete? In the most recent reported period, the social network removed approximately 1.8 billion fake accounts, up from 1.3 billion fake accounts in the corresponding quarter. So that wasn't just a quarter. That was a quarterly statistic. So in essence, like, you could say like that they remove almost 8 billion accounts every year that are fake. Crazy, like. So Dr. Garreth McGovern on FM 104 making some great points on there. He always says that he says there's this debate on whether cannabis can cause schizophrenia. He says you have to remember that over the last 40 years, the prevalence of cannabis use has gone through the roof. But the incidence of schizophrenia has remained kind of stable. So cannabis use has escalated. A recent survey there found that cannabis use increased by over 200% in Ireland from the 1990s numbers. But the rate of schizophrenia, where's that? I think that went up by maybe 1% or something like that. It's just like, it's a negligible amount anyway, as it can kind of just bounce around that number anyway. But yeah, negligible amount of an increase, and cannabis use just going to skyrocketing. He says you could argue that if we're seeing all this cannabis and all this cannabis is causing all this schizophrenia, why haven't we seen the equivalent numbers of cases going up? And we haven't. And again, guys, like this isn't me saying this. This is Dr. Garreth McGovern. He's a trained, qualified addiction specialist. Like, so if anybody was to see schizophrenia as a relationship with maybe cannabis and cannabis addiction, it's probably this guy, because if a person's addicted to cannabis and they're in his service, and if schizophrenia is a risk of cannabis use, and if you're addicted, obviously you're using a lot, so he should be seeing it, but he's not seeing it. You know, and we're not listening to this guy. We're ignoring this guy. And we talk Frank Fien talking about a health-led approach to drugs. But in fairness, a health-led approach to drugs would take into consideration that the fact that prohibiting of drugs is much more harmful to the individual drug user, because not only does the criminal offence carry with it the problem of getting jobs and travelling and all of that, but buying your drug from the black market, you're at risk of buying an adulterated substance, which could be fatal. Like my cannabis here right now was grown by a buddy, but if that buddy was untrustworthy, and if he was to turn around and maybe use one of these banned PGRs, which would boost the potential of the plant to increase heavier buds and all of this stuff, but the knock-on effect then is that when you combust that stuff, it can produce some seriously carcinogenic compounds. Luckily, my buddy who grows this is trustworthy. He doesn't do this stuff. He grows it not organically, but he gets pretty good quality nutrients. But it's not organically grown. But you see the danger there posed by the unregulated environment in which you get your drugs, your cannabis. He also brings up the fact that in the new year, Dublin Midwest TD Kenny is going to be bringing legislation before the Dáil on the regulation of cannabis, and he says that the current deterrents have failed, calling for a new approach. Whether you use cannabis or not is absolutely irrelevant. Dr. Garreth McGovern says the most important point of all is that people will use cannabis whether it is illegal or not. So is the current drug law a deterrent? It's not. They just don't work. I would argue that we need a regulated system, a system that makes cannabis legal for cultivation and consumption. And he points to Germany and Malta, who are now going to be legalizing the use of cannabis, the production of cannabis, and also Luxembourg, they're included. Also, the likes of Spain and Portugal, who've had a very tolerated approach to cannabis, and in the Netherlands too, who've had a long relaxed attitude towards cannabis. And they're all expected to be passing similar legislation here or in their places, and Garreth McGovern wants Ireland to do the same. So fingers crossed that radio interview there yesterday or on Wednesday on FM 104 fell on the right ears. Hopefully, some people heard this out there, fence sitters, and they're going to kind of jump now to the side to kind of say, yeah, that doctor is right. He's an addiction specialist and he's arguing for cannabis to be legalized. Well, let's listen to this guy. And also, guys, I'd like to just give a shout out to Hazmat. Hazmat, thanks very much for the support of the show. Getting in about €10 there, I'd imagine. Thanks very much. I know the dollar amount comes up there quite often, but really do appreciate that support. Thanks very much, Hazmat. Fair play, Tia Martin, a man of conviction and information to the boot. Thanks very much. I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate the support. You might have heard earlier there, but all of the funds that come in here not only go to help support the show, but if it's not to support the show, it's going to be supporting the fight for cannabis legalisation. And when I say support the show, it's like if there's something that could be used to make the show better, or for the campaign. Recently there was over 200 quid went towards getting stamps and envelopes and to be posting those out to the TDs along with the cannabis, which was kindly donated and didn't come at a cost. So yeah, thanks very much, Hazmat. That will be put to really good use. Right, let's drive on, and we get to the good stuff. Yes, woohoo! Let's get to some of the good news. Well, it depends on how you look at this. This is some good news. The cannabis activist Outlaw over in the UK. He's back in today's 420 news, but it isn't. Look, I'm not going to be moaning about the guy, not giving out about the guy. As I say, I really do hope that this guy is going to prove me wrong in my skepticism about what he's saying with his judicial reviews and his all of this kind of legal stuff that he's supposedly doing in the UK. I am a bit skeptical about it. But Outlaw recently shared a post up on Instagram and Facebook. Recently announced, and it included this photo. So apparently he was out there around Manchester sticking posters up on the side of a police van and taking a photo of it, because that's some great activism. Well done. But he got that photo anyway, and he was sharing it around the place. And he says, been out all week helping rough sleepers in town, and I've got something proper coming for the less fortunate kids this Sunday in Manchester. And he says he's going to make announcements today, which he did, and I'll follow up on that in a sec. He says, I've been filming so much mad stuff this year that I couldn't put out. The Netflix content non-disclosure expires in January, so I'm going to get active on YouTube, which I've wanted to do for a while. First proper vid dropping early January, links on the website. Court bits, we've got 2 judicial reviews early February, possibly a class action, and definitely a lot of appeals happening all next year to change the law officially. Update articles on the site and a little 100% emoji. Also, he says unofficial decriminalisation on the 26th/27th of December. I've got something big. I can't wait to share with you. And on January the 1st, I've got a load of protection info dropping on the websites. Start how we mean to go on next year. Hashtag no more cannabis prosecutions. He also says, I've set up my Outlaw members, hashtag Outlaw family, for the people who want to really support what I do. So like he says, who want to really support what I do. I've never wanted to take straight donations, so if you want to give to Outlaw, I want to give you something back that's over and above what I already do. This isn't support so I can carry on, it's support so I can do even more. And he says links on the website. And then also in another post which came today, and this is kind of where I got the headline there. I don't know if you noticed the kind of little headline. It was Christmas with the Outlaw, little kind of take on Christmas with the in-laws. You know, Christmas with the Outlaw. And here is Outlaw apparently dressed up as Father Christmas, or is it Father Outlaw? I'm not too sure what he calls himself. But Father Outlaw anyway, as I'm going to call him. He bought well over 500 toys to give out to less fortunate kids this weekend. He says everyone deserves a gift this year. Do you what you can. Do you what you can if you're in position to help. Catch me in Manchester at 3:30 at a designated spot. Let me know if you want me to go to a spot. Announcement tomorrow night, or you can request a delivery where I'll bring the van to you and you can pick whatever you want. Toys for ages 3 to 11. Apply for delivery on the website. Link in the bio, or go to www.outlaw.ltd/Santa. So let's just go to that. Let's see what happens. Let me get those photos off. So there it goes. Free toy delivery plus pickup. Just bought over 500 plus toys and delivering them in a van on Sunday 19th of December. So he's going to do it on Sunday. Leave your postcode, email, and mobile number, and you're on a route. A member of my team will ring you on Sunday to confirm a drop-off time. Oh, excuse me. If we can't come and deliver to you, look out for the announcement on Saturday night, 18th of December, to come and collect on Sunday at 3:30. So shout out to anybody in Manchester who can go down and meet Outlaw, and who might also be skeptical of what's going on. You know, get him up in our live stream there and get a few comments off him, see what the crack is. Like, what's going on? Like, what's the story with Netflix? Like, this guy, like, is he getting paid for Netflix for the work that he's doing with him, or what? Like, where's your fucking where's your what's the word I was gonna come up with there? Where's your focus? I suppose, is it on you or is it on the community? I suppose, like, because if you're signing non-disclosure agreements, like, is that in the best interest of what you're doing, the campaign? Like, you know. I'm not too sure. Look, but as I say, look, let's hope. I look forward to January. I look forward to seeing what comes from Netflix. Hopefully, there's going to be an interesting documentary up there, and hopefully, I'll be sitting down and saying, "Geez, I was wrong about that guy." I really do, guys. I really do hope that I'm going to be fucking eating my words in this, like, and I'm going to be proven wrong, because if this guy's got a judicial review and is going to be taking class actions and stuff like that, fair play to the guy, la. I'll give him that. I'll give him that and much fucking more once I see it. Like, I don't really want to be giving it to him now, because like he's been promising this stuff for a while. Like, I know he got out his apology saying he's so sorry that he wasn't able to achieve what he promised back then. Like, but it's just like, what if he's not going to deliver now? Look, I look forward to January. That's all I'd say. Heard it all before from him. Says Pods, Ballista, Jam tomorrow, and hope he's not BSing. Yeah, I hope not either. I really do hope he's not. I hope that judicial review is true, and I hope the other kind of appeals and stuff like that he's talking about in the class action, I hope that's all true as well. I see Billy Bonds giving the old fingers up as well. As I say, I'm kind of just covering the 420 news, bringing the news to the community. This guy's apparently a leading cannabis activist out there, and this is kind of what he's doing now. He's signing non-disclosure agreements with Netflix, but he's also giving kids to the toys, helping out the homeless, but he's not engaging with the community in any meaningful way that I can see. So, look, yeah, Billy Bonds, I kind of have the same feelings there as well, but I really do hope that I'm wrong. I hope that, like, we're all wrong. So let's leave Outlaw there and we go to some more positive news about cannabis, guys, as cannabis could play a role in maintaining a healthy body weight. And this is because CBD, which interacts with the CB1 receptor, is said to help with the conversion of white fat cells to brown fat cells to be used as energy. So basically, there's a little biology lesson for you out there if you don't know. White blood cells are used for burning calories, and that produces heat in the body, which in turn is sweat. So the conversion, white blood cells then are used for the storing of energy. So you've got one for burning calories. What are calories? Calories are basically energy. So calories get stored as fat. And that fat then gets converted over to a consumable form, and it gets burned off as energy. So CBD and the CB1 receptor are said to help increase the rate of conversion of white fat cells to brown fat cells to be used as an form of energy. So that's a very good finding there, that CB1 could be a very beneficial compound to be using to help maintain a healthy body weight. And not only that, that there's more studies needed to be done on this, as there has been no human studies done on the cannabis and its effect on maintaining body weight. But looking at the pharmacokinetics of cannabis and the way in which it works, it is possible to see this increase, especially in mouse and rat models as well. But there is more studies to be done on this. But also, you look at other things, there is the fact that, say, cannabis and CBD are said to be helpful for getting a good night's rest, a good night's sleep. And when you get a good night's sleep, when you get more sleep, that helps with the regulation of other kind of hormones in the body, such as ghrelin and leptin. So if you're a person who gets a good night's sleep, well, you will have more leptin and less ghrelin in the body. But if you suffer with, say, sleep disruptions, well, you get an increase in ghrelin production in your body and you get a decrease in leptin. And then, interestingly about that, leptin, well, that's a hormone that is attributed to making, to the feeling of satiety, so the feeling of being full, while ghrelin has the reverse effect. That actually is responsible for the feeling of being hungry. So if you're a person who suffers from sleep disruption, you're going to have an increase in this hormone, which adds to the feeling of hungriness, and less of the hormone, which gives you the feeling of being full. So that in turn then is going to impact on your weight. So you wonder kind of if a person like is overweight, you know, and they got a good diet, but it's possibly down to this fact that you know that they're not sleeping enough. And while it might appear that they've got a good diet, they might be actually eating of a lot more calories than what they need, you know, as a result of this kind of imbalance of hormones, where you know you kind of got too much of a bad hormone. Well, not really a bad hormone because you need to feel hungry, but too much of it is bad, especially in combination with not enough of the other one, when it's driven by sleep. So you know that's another kind of benefit of CBD. CBD can help with an increased sleep. You know, not just CBD, but cannabis at large. A lot of the compounds in there are, you know, attributed to a good night's sleep. Cannabis has even got some terpenes which have been found in lavender, and studies of that terpene within lavender have been attributing that terpene to a good night's sleep, a good night rest. So boom, there you go, guys. Get your cannabis into your diet. You need a daily consumption of cannabis to not only get a good night's sleep, but to maintain a healthy body weight. You know, and then there's also the stress, you know, stress molecules. People who suffer a lot with stress can, again, you know, be driven to eat more, as that can kind of reduce the stress. It helps them deal with stress. So again, cannabis helps deal with stress. So again, reducing that urge to kind of stress eat. Any other kind of interesting points there on CBD? Oh, the last bit of information, it says here that they can potentially illuminate the issue of how CBD affects weight loss, is the relationship between the compound and stress levels and the body inflammation. So inflammation there, guys, that was another one included in that. It says both of the latter have a significant impact on body weight. Inflammation is a natural fallout of heavy workouts, so CBD helps keep it under control, thereby facilitating recovery and letting people exercise more. It ultimately results in greater levels of fat burn and better maintenance of lean muscles. Additionally, CBD also helps to relieve people from stress that leads to less intake of unnecessary snacks and drinks. But I stress, guys, not just CBD, cannabis. All of the terpenes inside in there as well, they're also beneficial too. You know, shout out to Martin O'Brien and his Fox 7. Fox 7, they're trying to break it down for customers to make it easier to kind of differentiate between the terpene profiles of their cannabis strain and how these terpene profiles lead to the different effects of the cannabis as well. So that's kind of how where the industry is going over there in places like the Sonoma Valley, where Martin O'Brien and Foxworthy Farms are based. And then that brings us to America, guys, and we'll get back to your comments in a second. But the final headline I have for you today, guys, is coming out of America, and it's coming thanks to the Last Prisoner Project. And some of you might have seen this already, but this is a case of a 90-year-old man who's been released from a life prison sentence for a non-violent cannabis conviction. I've an old post here from the Last Prisoner Project, and this is the case of Horacio Raul Estrada Elias. He was granted compassionate release at the age of 90. And in 2008, Horacio was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for conspiracy to distribute cannabis. And I believe, you know, he was actually in custody since 2006. So I believe he actually served a 15-year sentence effectively for this conspiracy to distribute cannabis. I believe he was caught with a couple of pounds of cannabis, but because of the nature of the crime, the interstate crime that was going on there, he was trafficking cannabis around America. They went hard on him and they gave him a life sentence. And in America, guys, I don't know if you know, but life means life. And guys, if you're this guy and if you're like, what was he, 70 odd when he got caught, when he done this, like he was never going to be coming out of prison again. But luckily, you know, he managed to be granted compassionate release. And I have to wonder, you know, before I go into the rest of the case, I just wonder, like, and it's very possible that Horacio here, Horacio Raul, that it wasn't even his cannabis. Like, is it possible that maybe a grandson of Raul's or something like that, you know? And it's like, granddad was just kind of there, and he's like, look, I'm going to take this hit for you. Like, you know, you're young. I don't want you to be going behind bars and getting life in prison because of the nature of the crime. I'm going to do this for my grandson. You know, if I was a granddad, you know, and if cannabis was still illegal, and if like my grandson was, let's say, growing 100 plants or whatever the case might be, and he got caught, and if there was a possibility that he was going to be spending the rest of his life behind bars, I would gladly, as a grandfather, be like, come here, look, you're not going behind bars. I'm going to be dead in a couple of more years anyway. Look, it's the least I could do, man. Like, it's the best way I could spend the rest of my life. Do you know, I would gladly give up the final few years of my life that to help the injustice of any of my family members, really, you know. So again, you know, this is the case of Horatio Rule, and I'm just theorizing. I don't even know if he has grandsons or what might be the case. I do know he has a daughter, and I have him pictured here. In this picture is sorry, you know, I'm just getting up his picture. In the picture is from left to right, his sister Amanda Estrada, his sister Sylvia Ramirez, and his daughter Elizabeth Estrada. So the final lady here in the black and white dress, that's actually his daughter Elizabeth Estrada, and she's delighted that her dad is going to be now released from prison, as she thought he was going to die behind bars. Like it's saying here in the article that since he's been behind bars, like he's developed he's developed a terminal illness and is bedridden. His terminal illness is a pulmonary heart disorder, cardiac disorder. So it's no bueno. Like, you know, his doctor came into the prison and said that he is it's a congestive heart failure he's suffering from, atrial fibrillation and chronic kidney disease. And to top it all off, then he's also gotten the coronavirus while he was in prison. Mad stuff, like absolutely mad stuff. His doctor visited him in April of 2020, and the doctor predicted then that he had less than 18 months to live. So April of 2020, 18 months less to live. Well, that brings him up to about now. You know, April. Like he's gone overtime. He's gone overtime. 18 months from April would have been like October, November, I believe. Like what month is April? 6 months from April. Sorry, no. April as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. October. Yeah, that would have been October. So his ticket would have been punched effectively in October of 2021. But luckily, he is still alive. He's now bedridden. But at least, you know, he's going to be left out of prison. He's been given the compassion to be allowed to be surrounded by his own family, you know, pictured here. Because, like, this is just sickening. The prohibition of cannabis, removing a man from his family for the final years of his life until he's died. Is that right? Like, is that okay? No. Like, when cannabis is effectively federally legalized over in America, like, how is this guy ever going to be repaid for this injustice that was served upon him? And it is an injustice. I don't care if it was illegal when he done it. It's an injustice. Like, that the punishment did not fit the crime. Again, you know, you've got fucking not Freeway Rick, White Boy Rick. White Boy Rick is currently suing the American government for a violation of his constitutional rights for cruel and unusual punishments. This is a cruel and unusual punishment. The guy got caught with some cannabis. The cannabis was never going to end anybody's life unless he threw it at him from a very tall fucking building, you know? Like, the cannabis was never going to take anybody's life, but yet they've taken the final years of this guy's life. It's sick. It's sick. Like, and for anybody to support prohibition, guys, you're a sick individual. Frank Fian, Stephen Donnelly, guys, you're sick individuals. There's people out there right now getting locked up for cannabis, and that cannabis was going to take away in time from no one's life. Do you know? No one's life. No. In fact, it was probably going to add to people's lives. Add the time to their lives because of the reduction of stress. We all know how stress is a big driver of death. You know, if you live a fucking high stress life, you know, it's possible that you're going to die at a young age, probably of a heart attack. But if you have some cannabis, probably can alleviate some of that stress and maybe reduce the chance of a heart attack. Sickening, man. The guy is 90. Imagine 90 years of age and he's pleading for his life from behind bars. Please let me out just to die with my family. Like, that's effectively what the guy is saying. And while I say, look, this is good news, I want to keep it in the good news, like he is getting out. It's great. His family are delighted now. They're going to be welcoming him home. But you know, this isn't the only case over there of people getting released. But before I go on to the other cases, his daughter, Elizabeth Estrada, she says it's a huge blessing for us all. We're so excited for the whole family to finally be together. The plan is that Estrada Elias will live with his sister in San Diego, the area, and the Last Prisoner Project has offered its congratulations and thanks in a tweet to all who worked to secure this release. So there have been a number of compassionate releases granted, a number of non-violent cannabis convictions in the recent years. And then they mention the case of a 57-year-old man convicted of growing cannabis who had spent almost 13 years in prison and was released thanks to the efforts of a pro bono attorneys at Goodwin's in partnership with the Last Prisoner Project. And I'll pop this guy up. This is a case of Andy Cox. And I'll pop it up here now on screen. And forgive me if I get emotional on these ones because it is really annoying. It is a bit close to home because like you have a case here now. I'm whatever about the guy's age, but you know, you have a picture here of this guy with his family, and he looks like a caring, loving father. He's got his daughter and his son here. But he had 13 years of his life, you know. He 13 years where these two young, beautiful children, they were without a dad, you know. At least they were without a proper day, you know, because he's behind bars. He's not there to give him a hug at night. He's not there to fucking, you know, wish him a good day in the morning, just say good morning to him and to, you know, to make him their fucking bacon and eggs or whatever it is, you know, some pancakes and maple syrup, you know, maybe that's the kind of American way. But, you know, it's just really, that's the part that gets me. They're the people who they're really punishing. It's like you think you're punishing this guy to try to deter him from engaging in the crime or whatever, but the people you're really punishing are his kids. It's like you have to ask, like, does the punishment fit the crime? And it doesn't. You're harming these kids as a result of this punishment, and it's like, no, that does not fit the crime. It's like, give the guy community service, do something else, like, do you know what I mean? But do not take this guy away from his kids because his crime does not say that he's a bad father. You can sell cannabis and still be a fucking stand-up dad, you know what I mean? Like, just because you sell cannabis does not make you a deadbeat dad. It does not make you it doesn't make it okay to take you away from those kids, because like to take you away from those kids is to punish those kids. And again, to go back to fucking white boy Rick, like that is a cruel and unusual punishment. It is a cruel and unusual punishment to achieve a flawed outcome. You know what I mean? An unachievable outcome. Do you know, it's literally mission impossible. And here, you know, like up on screen, and you are seeing that out there. Yeah, up on screen there, you see those two kids. But thank God he's back now with his family. I'm not too sure, you know, when that photo was taken. Maybe his kids were growing up by the time he got locked up. You know, maybe that photo was put up there to hit on the emotions of the readers. But man, boy, fuck, it hits on the emotions of the readers. It really does. You know, I could kind of wound up there, I get angry, but I could just as easily start bawling, fucking crying there as well. But also, you know, that's not the only case. There's another case of another man, a 67-year-old man who also, he spent almost 25 years of his life behind bars. This is also by the Growth Up. So this is the case of Michael Thompson, and he had a 60-year sentence commuted and is now working in the cannabis industry, and he sends them the message that the criminal justice system is broken. And yes, it feckin' is. This guy spent 25 years in prison on a 60-year sentence in a crime due to the cannabis and gun-related crime. So basically, he had cannabis and he owned guns, and that's not good. You know, I think if you've cannabis and you have guns, it's like that's not good, because there's like drugs and guns now. Like, you know, you're into some serious crime there that they kind of will put on. But I don't know, maybe his guns were legally owned, but because he has cannabis, it just makes it even worse. I'm not too sure what the story is there. But still, you know, an absurd sentence, 60 fucking years. It's like, if the guy killed somebody, okay, give him 60 years for that. Like, but you know, if the guy killed somebody, you probably only get like fucking 10 years or some shit like that. You know, they bring him up manslaughter charges. Like, it's the fact that this cannabis, like, they're just going to go far harder on the guy. But I actually got a video here from the guy when he's gotten released, and that comes via the way of the Last Prisoner Project. But I'm going to get him up here on YouTube as he gets released. I'm going to run down and grab a drink as well as this plays, and so I don't start crying.
Shonda Littles has been waiting decades for this moment. A chance to hug her father, 69-year-old Michael Thompson, released from prison at 4 this morning.
Can't believe this day has came, but I'm grateful and I'm blessed. The Lord seen fit. He's seen that my dad deserves a second chance.
Michael had been behind prison walls for nearly 25 years. Thompson's daughter, Princess, was only 3 when he was sentenced to 40 to 60 years for selling 3 pounds of marijuana and owning guns in the mid-90s.
She didn't get the chance that I got, so that's why I have her here with me, to be able to experience this beautiful day of seeing our father walk out the door. And I wanted her to be able to remember this.
This moment where her father was met with hugs, a sign from his little granddaughter, and people who fought to get this nonviolent offender out of prison. His sentence was finally commuted by Governor Whitmer last month.
Michael, how does it feel to see all your loved ones out here?
Oh, yeah. Yep. It feels good. It feels real good. I mean, I wasn't expecting all this. This is beautiful.
A beautiful moment, but it's only the beginning of Michael's journey. He has big plans to help inmates and troubled youth.
I'm happy that I'm free, but there's so much work to be done on the prison reform.
He hopes his case brings to light other nonviolent offenders and gives them a second chance too.
It's not just about me. It's about thousands of guys.
Yeah, man. Thousands
that need help.
Michael hopes to bring that help. He also has other big plans in the works.
He's still on parole, so we're going to be trying to restore his entire freedom. We're not done yet, and I think he's going to be celebrating with his friends and family and trying to enjoy some of the things that he's been denied during his incarceration.
Scott Walczak, WNEM, TV5.
So that's that man's release, and emotional enough. In fairness, I'm glad I kind of ran away for it. But like, imagine what that must have been like. 25 years behind bars for cannabis. Sick stuff. Like, but do you know, in more positive news from this guy, I'll flick over to another video featuring the same guy, Michael Thompson, and I'll press play because this is a video following up on him as he took up a role with a cannabis confectionery or cannabis edible business by the name of You Baked. And it's a great name, actually, in fairness. You Baked. So he's going to just tell you a little bit about his role here he can't as a convicted felon, I think now, and his release as part of his parole. He can't touch the cannabis. He can't actually engage with the cannabis, but he can be an ambassador for the business. So we'll press play.
It's been like heaven. Been like heaven, man. You know.
Words are hard for Michael Thompson to find when it comes to describing his freedom. TV5 was there as Thompson was released from prison after 25 years in January because Governor Gretchen Whitmer commuted his sentence. This was Thompson's first day on the job for You Baked Cannabis, a cultivation and processing facility in Burton. The company is offering Thompson a platform to talk about justice system reform.
The owner here understands my cry to help them. So that's what I'm here for.
Thompson had been serving 25 years of a 40 to 60 year sentence for selling 3 pounds of marijuana and owning guns. His grandson, Michael, who also works for You Baked, says that's an injustice that plays out far too often.
Nobody should have did that. Much time for no marijuana. Nobody.
And now Thompson's story has come full circle. He is now a brand ambassador for the very thing that put him behind bars in the first place.
Personally, I felt indebted that we are, profiting from this industry after he spent 25 years in prison.
Bob Dodge is the CEO for You Baked Cannabis. He tells me Thompson isn't allowed near the product, but Dodge says Thompson's position is a win-win for both Thompson and the company.
We go to dispensaries and we do vendor days, and that may be an opportunity for us to incorporate you and hire you as a brand ambassador and get your message out there.
Thompson is quick to point out there are a lot of people in prison right now who are just like him. He says he'll do everything he can to raise awareness that in many cases, the punishment doesn't fit the crime.
The criminal justice system is broken.
Fucking right it is.
It needs to be fixed.
Reporting in Genesee County, James Felton, WNEM, TV5.
And it's like, how are we going to fix it when the people in charge won't engage with us? They won't listen to the recommendations that we're trying to make to them and trying to improve the system. You know, they won't engage us. You have people like Frank Fian, when asked by, again, another TD, you have Jane O'Kenny put the question to him around cannabis legalisation. He's like, I have no intentions of legalising cannabis. We have no intentions of decriminalising cannabis either, as that would lead to the legalisation of cannabis. Instead, we're going to go with a health-led approach. It's like, your health-led approach, 25 years behind bars, you know, taken away from your family, kids growing up without their dad because of 3 pounds of marijuana. Like, come on, like, come off the stage now with your bullshit. Like, I'm not taking it anymore, guys, and I hope all of you out there join me in that. Like, just not the respect of the law. The law doesn't respect you. And did that particular law, you know what I mean? Follow the other laws, guys, you know. Follow the other laws. But this particular one in cannabis, you know, break that one, you know, grow your own cannabis, possess your own cannabis, and do it quietly, discreetly, but answer my call as well when the time is right. I'm going to be calling on people to come on out, join me as we march down and we challenge this law directly. And we like, I know that guy was saying we need to fix the system, but in order to fix the system, I think we truly need to break the system. And I mean that we can break the system in a peaceful civil disobedience protest way. We go down and just go in, and just through people engaging with the system, the files, the paperwork, it's going to come to a halt. They won't be able to keep up with it. There's about 15 to 18,000 criminal cases processed every year for drugs in Ireland, for personal possession of drugs, I believe, and dealing. I think it's a combination of the two within that number. If we were to do that, like, all we need is about, what is it, 100 people. 100 people to be going, or no, 1,000 people to be going 15 times to a Garda station, and that's it. 100 people. Like, guys, how many cannabis smokers do we have out there? How many people get caught accidentally anyway? Like, do you know, like, 100 people is what we need to go, or 1,000 people, sorry, to go 15 times, and that would be 15,000 cases for the directors for public prosecution. That would equal their yearly amount. So, like, all of those people that were above in Dublin's Phoenix Park last July, like, when we marched last July, we should have marched to the Garda station. The guards were there with us. They were watching us consume our cannabis. They were watching us roll our cannabis. They were watching us just enjoy the day, be nice, otherwise law-abiding citizens, you know. And they had no problem. There was total respect there. There was some lovely conversations had between the members of the Guard and the attendees of the protest, and that was great. But you know, we didn't, like, what happened? There was nothing happened. We got no attention from the media. There was no attention from the government. But if we had those same 1,000 people, and if we walked into the Garda station, like, if we had a queue of 1,000 people at the Garda station, that's headlines. It's like Garda station brought to a standstill. There was more people showed up at the Garda station that there was at their vaccine booster that day, you know. Sorry for throwing that in there, but you know what I mean? Like, that's what we need to be doing. We just need to be thinking bigger and bolder. Marching down the street with a fucking placard saying free to eat, legalise cannabis or whatever, like that's baby stuff, that's infant stuff. The government are laughing at us. They're like, look at them out there again. It's great. They all got buses up and they're all kind of contributing to the economy because they're getting the buses up to do their protesting and stuff. It's great, isn't it? Yeah, it's great. We should be trying to get them to protest a little bit more often, shouldn't we? Yeah, we should actually. Yeah, stimulates the economy. Get fellas on the trains. It's not too many people getting the train from Cork to Dublin there, you know. But no, we really need to be thinking bigger and more bolder with these protests, and we can't be like accommodating as much as what we have been. You know, you can go over there and smoke a cannabis, guys. It's like, well, you're telling us we can go over there and smoke a cannabis. Well, we're now going to go over to this place where you don't want us to go, and we're going to smoke cannabis there because you don't want us smoking cannabis on any other day of the week, except for there's 1,000 of us here now, and you're respecting us. But we are going to fight for our respect and our rights. So that's kind of where I'm at this, guys. Again, 22nd of December, the next protest. It's not going to the Garda station. It's going to be down in Cork City outside of Brown Thomas. Going to have some free brownies there, guys, in honour of Brownie Mary. And I'll bring her up. Brownie Mary. Been Googling this lady a lot lately. I think I shared a video on my YouTube the other day of this wonderful lady. I think this is a good YouTube video. It's only about 2 minutes long here. It's...
Hey everybody, John
Whoops, I
be informed.
United Patients Group it's coming from over on YouTube. I'm going to pop it up on screen there for you guys just to see this guy. He's just going to give you a little bit about Mary.
Hey everybody, John Malanka here, United Patients Group, be informed and be well. And just did another cooking show. And the cooking show we did with Jeff, the 420 chef, was brownies. And they're delicious. But in the topic of conversation came up one of the old pioneers, which a lot of people, and this happens in everyday life, you know, we kind of see what's in front of us and forget what's behind us. And one of the people that really paved this way was a woman named, she went by the nickname Brownie Mary, Brownie Rathbun.
Look her up, guys.
And she, in the 80s and 90s, she was a volunteer at San Francisco General, and she made brownies for the AIDS patients. And just knowing that what the benefits are of this plant, not only for patients of all, but the AIDS patients in pain and wasting syndrome, etc. And she was a cannabis activist, and she worked alongside with Dennis Perron. Dennis Perron was also another an AIDS patient and AIDS activist. And they live in San Francisco, and they worked to really get this information out about the benefits of cannabis. And so again, total pioneer. What we're seeing here in 2021 and beyond, you know, please don't. I mean, I've been in this industry for about 11 years, and a lot of new people that have come in don't know the history of, you know, some of these activists that really paved the way. In 1991, she and Dennis Perron passed a law in San Francisco for medical cannabis use, and then in 1996, the Prop 215 for cannabis use for medical use here in the state of California. And
I'm just going to pause it there. What he mentioned there is those two laws that got passed, Proposition P and Proposition 215. They were effectively passed because of the actions of the people he mentioned there, you know, and primarily, you know, the Mary Rathbun, she just defied the laws, engaged in civil disobedience on the grounds of medical necessity. And it was respected, it was upheld, there was judges upheld the decisions in court. She did spend time in prison as well, but it was upheld, and they were successful then in getting their propositions passed. Proposition P, which propositions for the patients, P for patients, I believe, and then Proposition 215, which kind of gave further, more effective access to the patients.
so Jeff and I, Jeff the 420 chef, we spoke about pioneers. I was talking about Brownie Mary. He spoke about Dennis Perron. And who's somebody that's an inspiration for you, or a pioneer that we do not want to forget what they've done for us here in the cannabis industry, as well as the patients and moving forward. So love to hear your thoughts.
Nice one, United Patients Group, for that. I just needed somebody to tell you about Brownie Mary, but I packed up a bowl. It's 420 again. I better pack up another bowl. I smoke a bowl, and then I smoke a bowl, and then I'll smoke two more. 420. Potent Panics. What's happening, Potent Panics? I got your message there the other day. I responded back on Instagram, so yeah, we'll follow up there and have a chat. Potent Panic says, you can visit the house 215 was drafted in San Francisco. It's called the Castro Castle. It's also where the rainbow flag was first associated with LGBT rights and where it was created. Guys, there you go. Like, you know, it's crazy because I'm always kind of tying in the gay community and how they fought for their rights, and how we as the cannabis community can learn a lot from them. But it seems like the two were kind of like this back in the day, really, because especially in San Francisco, because there was an epidemic then at the time with AIDS within the gay community, and cannabis was very beneficial for that, like, you know. And Potent Panic says, yeah, we do a joint episode too. Yes. Love it. Oh, yes. I'll pack up another bowl there anyways. We just rolled past 420. But yes, guys, Brownie Mary anyway, 22nd of December, Cork City, outside of Brown Thomas, at 4:20, guys. Bring your Santa hats. Let's be festive, you know. Bring your cannabis stuff as well. Let's represent the community well. Come on down, get a free brownie and cannabis brownie, a free cannabis brownie. Let's just fucking call it what it is. We're going to engage in civil disobedience that day, guys. If you look under 18, I won't be giving you one. If you look under 21, sorry, I won't be giving you one unless you kind of prove your age. It's a self-regulation I'm imposing. I know there's no laws out there requiring me to check your age when you ask for a brownie, but I apologize if I offend you. But if you look on the young side, like, you know, if if I have any doubts, I'm going to ask you to pull it out. So yeah, if you do look young, guys, if you're going to show up, guys, if you want to inbox me your ID or something, if you're going to be like, look, I'm showing up, Martin, I don't know if you're going to think I'm young, but look, here's my fucking ID, I'm going to prove I'm this age, do it, and I'll see you there on, it's Wednesday, so it's going to be Wednesday coming, guys, at 4:20, down outside that big space there outside of Brown Thomas. I'm going to bring a speaker, I'm going to bring my chair, I'm going to bring some brownies, I should have a banner there as well. If anybody's around in Cork, if you want to get in touch, if you want to give me a hand setting up there on the day, it'd be sweet to meet up with somebody beforehand and get that organised. But as it's going to be Mary's 99th birthday, I'm going to have 99 brownies. So I'll do my best, guys, to keep them as a nice serving size. But you know, given the amount of them, they might be like a bite size or maybe a 2 bite size. But still, nonetheless, there's going to be 99 free cannabis brownies for you to get on the 22nd of December, which is Mary Jane Ratbun's 99th birthday, should she still have been alive. She sadly passed away in April 10th, I believe, of 99. So sadly she has since passed away, but you know, on her birthday, which is the 22nd of December, I'm going to be holding that protest here in Cork City, engage in civil disobedience, calling for a change of the laws there to end this discrimination that we face as a community. I no longer want to take it, and I'm going to do all I can to get the change here. I believe that people like Mary and the others mentioned there within that video, that they were instrumental to get those changes over there in San Francisco at that time, and that it's the civil disobedience that they engaged in. It was the medical necessity, and again, you know, there is a necessity here to end the discrimination, and there's a medical necessity too to end this prohibition. So again, get out there, support me, guys. Send me your messages in the inbox if you want to prove your age. I got 99 brownies, but I got 99 brownies, but a cop got none. Yes, there we go. We finished it for you. Or is it, I got 99 brownies, but the cops got none. Bolton Ponick says, great to see cannabis culture across the pond. The first cannabis bill in the US, Dennis also wrote, which was Prop P in San Fran. Yeah, that was Dennis Perrone, who worked with Mary Jane Rapon there as well. I'll pop him up on screen just so you guys know who we're on about. But this guy actually had AIDS himself. Here we go. This is his Wikipedia page. Hopefully nobody's been malicious and done any kind of changes to this. Oops, what did I click? So there's Dennis Perrone. There's a picture of himself. Again, sadly, he has since passed away. I believe he passed away of 3 years ago, January of 2018. But again, another amazing activist, campaigner for the legalization of cannabis. Throughout the 1990s, it says here, he influenced many in California and thus changed the political debate on cannabis in the US. So again, guys, these people need to be remembered, but not only remembered, but we need to be motivated by these guys, be inspired by these guys, to really take a leaf out of their book, you know, and slight maybe pun intended on that one there as well, but we do need to be kind of following in the footsteps of these guys. They really paved the way before us, you know, and I think we might have got a bit comfortable, you know, kind of complacent. I don't know, we just accepting of some of the the things that have happened, like medical cannabis is legal in Ireland, and it's like, no, it's not really. So some people kind of stopped campaigning, people kind of take the foot off the gas then, like, oh yeah, we done this, we shaved it, and you just kind of take the pedal off the metal. It's like, no, full throttle, guys. Full throttle. Civil disobedience, it's simple. Show up and eat a brownie, guys. Like, how easier can a protest be? How easier can a protest be? And literally is asking you to come down and I'm going to give you a brownie in your protest, and it's like, decent, come on, let's do it, like. Some other guy on Instagram's going to charge you about 20 quid for that same brownie, guys. So get down, Cork City, outside of Thomas Debenhams, and get yourself some free cannabis brownies. 99 brownies, guys. I need 99 volunteers to eat them, because I won't be able to do it alone. Cotton Mountain's getting serious. Oh shit, I see Ponic says Dennis was a friend of mine. That's excellent to hear, because I was actually looking to get talking to somebody who might have been a friend of some of these activists, just to get an insight into kind of who these people were, how they taught and spoke, because there's not a whole lot of content up there from these people. So I would definitely like to be able to kind of to pick people like yourselves' brain. So definitely let's follow up in that conversation there, Ponics, and yeah, and you can pick my brain on all things what's going on over here. Ryan out in the audience, we need more Martins. You don't want more me's. You don't want more me's, but you can all be more like me by just standing up for your rights, because it doesn't take anything special, guys. I know some of you might think, I know Mackie says that they're over in the High and Homegrown podcast. Oh, you got big balls. It's like, guys, I got below average size balls, I'd say. And that's probably been modest, or that's been not modest. What's the other word? Liberal, is it? We're overstating the size. Never mind. Anyway, look, I was just trying to be self degrading there, but degrading. But yeah, there's nothing special about me, guys. Each and every one of you could be just like me too, and stand up for your rights. And the first part of that will be coming on down there on the 22nd if you're in Cork, if it's easy for you to do. But also, just do things like this as well. You don't have to set up your own podcast, but you could, with friends, in your own area, to kind of be brave and bold and be like, look, Martin, look, with yourself, we'll promote an event up here. And guys, I'll come up and I'll support your event up there, but I need people on the ground to be kind of saying, hey, look, Martin, we're in this area. There's like 5 or 6 of us down here. We all consume cannabis regularly, and we'd love to be able to kind of hold one of these 420 protests up in our area, civil disobedience. And decent, guys, let's promote the hell out of this. Like, we've got a calendar that's filling up next year now. And we need to be kind of filling that up even more now with these local protests as well. And I'll support as many people as I possibly can, So get in touch. The sooner you get in touch, the more chance you have of making sure that I'm able to come along to any protest you want to organise. Guys, a protest is simple to organise. Like, literally, like, look at what I'm doing next Wednesday. I'm just baking brownies and bringing them to the city, and I'm going to give them out for free. And it's like, that's a fucking protest, guys. And that's going to, guys, possibly national attention again. Possibly. And it's not that I want attention, guys. It's not about, like, Martin's World. It's about the message. The message of the campaign. Prohibition is wrong, and the law needs to change. It's like, forget about me. I'll fucking wear a mask. I'll call myself Outlaw for the day. It's not about me. It's about the message and the campaign. And that's as easy as it is to set up a protest like that. So guys, get inspired, if not by me, by any of these other people that I've mentioned there. The Dennis Perron, the Mary Jane, so aptly named Mary Jane Rapon, or Brownie Mary, others would have known her as. Some other great campaigners there across that community at that time, and have since sadly passed, but hopefully not all of them. Hopefully I'll catch up with some more of them. I know there's a Mary Rathbun political party. It's attached to the Democratic Party in some way. I'm not too sure of American politics, but apparently it's like one of 11 officially endorsed groups or something like that for the Democratic Party, and it's a Mary Jane Rathbun kind of group. I'll get them up there again. I'd see if I can get it. I sent the guy a message actually on Facebook, didn't I? did. He still hasn't accepted my friend request. I won't pop his thing up there on screen just in case. Marijuana news. So this is actually the guy's website, so he won't mind me sharing you this website. So this guy is actually a qualified nurse. So Potent Ponics, actually. Shout out to Potent Ponics. You might have a contact there with Lanny Swerdlow. I was looking to get in touch with Lanny Swerdlow as he, and it's in this list here. Yes, there we go. July 2012. Formed Brownie Mary Democratic Club to work with the Democratic Party to support the rights of medical cannabis patients, to end cannabis prohibition and stop the war on drugs. The BMDC is the first cannabis club to be affiliated with a major political party. The club, officially chartered by the Riverside County Democratic Central Committee, looks to expand in every Democratic Central Committee in California and other parts of the United States. So that was formed there in July 2012. So I'm looking to get in touch with this guy. I've tried to reach out to him on LinkedIn, I think, Twitter and Facebook. And I should actually send an email. Maybe it does an email there for him. But maybe Potent Ponics, you don't know him, but he does podcast interviews too. He's chill. Sweet. Happy days. That's the job. Hopefully you'll be able. I only started trying to get in touch with this guy since Wednesday, I believe it was, maybe. So I just said I'd ask you as you're out there in the audience. But I appreciate it. Nice one, yeah. No, I appreciate the support there and the help Potent Ponics, dude. It's and it's great to see you in the audience. Thanks for tuning in, and I've hoped you'd enjoyed what you've seen so far. Again, just a lowdown on what's going on here. It's 420 News. It happens 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday and Friday. I've been taking a break on the Wednesdays. I have family stuff going on, but it goes normally 3 times a week at 4:20 here Irish time, and we cover kind of cannabis news, and then we have a great audience here as well. You know, it's and it's a nice growing audience too. It gets bigger every time as new faces kind of pop in on new names. Pods 4420 says, won't be simple to organise a protest in England soon. They're passing laws over there to make protesting illegal. More than likely be the same here. Guys, if you're over in England, like, you need to be out there protesting that shit. Like seriously, that's bad form if you sit back and just let that happen. Potent Panic says, New Jersey is a weed party too. NJ Weedman has been fighting that fight for decades. Nice. Yeah, I'll have to look up these people and just start getting inspired by other people across the pond who've fought for change. And you know, if I'm speaking to the established politicians over there who've made changes as well, then that would be good too. Because maybe some of the politicians here might actually start tuning in. Croncy says, write a letter and send it to Mihal Farton and explain how frustrating it is that cannabis isn't legalized now. Yeah, you know, I would endorse campaigns like that as well if you got the time, but little to no effect is kind of, I see those efforts. Like, they're great, you know, and I think, like, if you got like 1 million letters to be sent, then maybe it might have some sort of an effect, like, but I just don't see 1 million letters ever really being sent. A recent effort here in Cork, and a great effort too, where there was over 1,000 letters sent to Micheál Martin. And again, you know, it was a great campaign, and like, it was great. And I think the best thing that happened in that campaign is that it brought more people together, and it got a conversation going just in amongst our own little community. But in terms of the effect at the government level, like, I don't even think it was a topic of conversation at all, like, above there. The letters that were getting sent back, like, none of them were going to be sent back by Micheál Martin. It was always his secretary and stuff. So, like, unless we're going to be sending like fucking 420 million letters, they're not going to listen. It might as well be 420 million, because we're probably not getting 1 million either. And again, like, it's kind of a waste of paper and stuff as well, like, you know. So it'd be better just to bake some brownies and go down and give them out for free, wouldn't you think? Hazmat58 says, you should get the snip no Martin after 3. No, I'm just going to be a bit more careful. I think we're perfecting the technique now. Right? 9 months of practicing. Sorry, jokes, dirty jokes. I'm just flipping back to some of the earlier comments there, guys, as there's been a lot of comments coming in. Hasman58, the first people over the parapet get shot every time. Not in this case, though. Not in this case. What is it? Guru Ganja Goat, 50,000 convicted cannabis users in Ireland. I'm sure Martin said it before. I think there was like, yeah, there's even more. There was like 250,000 people apparently, like within the last 25 years or something like that, or in the last 20 years. And you would have to imagine a good 70% of those are cannabis. So that's a lot more than 50,000. Guru Ganja Goat. So I'd imagine in Ireland we've probably got close to maybe 200,000 convicted cannabis consumers. Possibly. James Cleary, King's Inn crew be only too happy with all the petty ganja cases. They're probably missing all the 2 a.m. public order charges. Yep. Like that's the thing, you know, especially now, again, Ireland is going back into a lockdown. I don't know, it's gone 6, so I don't know what the hell Micheál Martin is after saying there. Apparently he was doing an announcement at 6, but like they're going to be closing the pubs again at 5 o'clock or something like that here in Ireland. Like that again is just going to allow the Gardaí more time to pick on us as cannabis consumers. Like if you're a person now and you're finished work at 5:30 and you have to go get your cannabis at like 6 or 7 o'clock, you're no more at risk of being pulled in by the guards because, you know, they're not out there dealing with people going like at the pubs and stuff like that. Like not that they'd be dealing with them at the pubs and stuff, but you know, they're more free to engage in those kind of duties than they would have been engaged elsewhere in society when society was kind of fully opening and fully functioning. So yeah, it's a bit of a messed up one. Yeah, I'd imagine, yeah, you know, you would have a lot more of a presence in the city of people, so therefore Gardaí at Christmas time especially. But, you know, if the pubs were open after 5 o'clock, that would have brought a lot more people into the city, so therefore more guards. So now there's not going to be as many people, so therefore less guards, so therefore more guards carrying out checkpoints. Therefore you getting caught with your cannabis. So guys, remember a while ago, the old petrol tank, put it on the outside of the car. John Phantom says, I grew up on the island Dr. John Lilly was on. Timothy Leary's sensory deprivation box buddy. My real name is a variation of Lily, and my father and grandfather are also on the island are John. Nice one. And he the guy done ketamine with dolphins, John Lilly. Alright, catch up on some of the earlier comments. Daily Talker, you a legend, Martin. Nice one, Daily Talker. You're also a legend. Cron C, nice one for that. I read that one already. Chilbert, I'm following you on Insta, PP, by the way. Must have seen you at FCP. So that was the Potent Ponics. So Chilbert there. Oh, nice. We got some other followers there within the audience. I was looking at your stuff as well, Potent Ponics. Check out Potent Ponics' YouTube page, guys, if you want to learn a bit about aquaculture and the use of fish and grown plants and more specifically cannabis. But not just exclusively that. There's some great content over there, and it pretty much is all exclusively cannabis related. So Potent Ponics, guys, another YouTube channel for you to check out. Others in the audience, what's happening, CG? Billy Bond says, by audience he means a load of mental chawankers. A load of spanners. Alright, Billy. A load of tools in my audience. That's okay, we love the tools. CG, cannabis should be decriminalised all across the earth. Yeah, man, yeah. I've kind of included that in some of the hashtags there a few times. It's like hashtag Cannabis Reform Ireland, hashtag Cannabis Reform Earth. Because we really do need to reform this prohibition right across the earth for it to really see the true effects of it. Because if a prohibition remains in place in another place, then you are going to have criminals still exist who are going to exploit that place. And any neighbouring country or state or county, whatever it might be, they're at risk then because of that prohibition remaining in those places. Potent Panic says, go protest with patients who need it. Little kids with seizures or elderly who need it to sleep or pain. Cancer patients and those kind of patients. It really helps people learn more in a non-judgmental way. 100% agree, Potent Panics. And sadly, you know, one of our more well-known cannabis activists here in Ireland has had to leave. She's over in Alicante now. That's Alicia Maher. And there's a campaign to bring Alicia home. But yeah, certainly I do agree with you there, and I will be making an effort. I've already messaged 1 or 2 patients who I know of, and I will be messaging more. I'm going to try to make it so I know who's kind of showing up here as much as I can. And yeah, I'll be making a big effort there as well to see the patients get it. This is going to be endorsed as well by the Patients for Safe Access here in Ireland, which is a group that I'm a director of. So I'll be bringing the Patients for Safe Access banner along with me as well, which is calling for safe access for patients. And again, you know, cannabis edibles, especially the brownies, it's like a nice, easy way for a patient to be able to consume their medicine. And many patients kind of opt for that as well. And as well, when you look at for the pain side of it, there's a good conversation to be had how cannabis edibles in combination with maybe an oral or an inhaled form of cannabis too are probably the most beneficial way of actually treating pain for people. But yeah, as I say, Potent Panics, 100% agree with you. I will be making a big effort to get the patients down there and to have people speak up as well. You know, maybe Kenny Tynan might be willing to get the bus or the train down from above where he's at and join me and kind of highlight how his recent announcement where his tumour is not growing anymore. You know, it's like a great announcement. I'll pop it up on screen there now, actually, just as I bring him up, as I don't believe I brought it up before. But Kenny Tynan had a brain tumour, and he was given a couple of years to live, but he's outlived that, and he's punching a new ticket now. And who knows when the data's up on that, but it seems like the cannabis is not going, or the cancer is not too much of a problem at the moment, as it's remaining quite stable and not progressing any further. I'm just looking for his post here now. Halloween thing. Oh man, but where was that? Might find it over on Instagram easier. Ba-da-da, da-da-da. Guinness mushrooms, boom. Is this the one? Just flicking through Kenny's Instagram there. He definitely posted it up there. Like, I'm just trying to think when he posted it. Picture the bio. Go on to Kenny. High King of Ireland, apparently. Terps galore. Da-da-boom. Oh. Here we go. I think this was the one. Reason to live in it. No, that's not the one. Kenny, where is it? Was it that long ago? Anyway, if I don't find it, like, you know, you kind of get what I was trying to say. Kind of determined to find it now. Like, he definitely posted it there within the last few weeks. I didn't think it was that long ago that he posted. But anyhow, we'll do my best to get Kenny down, and he'll tell us about it, seeing as I can't find it on his thing here. I'll be talking to him, actually. I should have been talking to him 45 minutes ago. I didn't realise the time. Oops. I missed the Patients for Safe Access call. That's my bad. That's my bad, guys. I was having too much time here with yourselves in the chat and the audience. That's my bad. Last Patients for Safe Access meeting of the year. Everything, isn't it? Oops. So yeah, we'll try to get Kenny down, and we'll try to get more patients down anyway. People sell it before Big Pharma says CG. 100% CG. And Potent Panic says hard for them to argue with a woman in a walker. Spot on, yeah. You know, and there's a guy I know, actually, and he's in a wheelchair. and he has multiple sclerosis, I believe, is the what he suffers with, and I believe he will be willing to come down and have some edibles. Come on, Barry Field says, whatever, Martin, I'm doing it right now. Me too. I've got one right here. Here's one I packed earlier. Scatness says 22,000 drug-related convictions in 2020 alone. There you go, guys. Like 2020 alone, just 20,000. So it's like way above the average. As I said, like, you know, there's like 25,000 there in 20 years. This is well above that average. Unless it's a shipping container full, Daily Talker. Oh, Daily Talker says it's decriminalized because the first time you get caught, you can get a warning. Yeah, that's what they say, isn't it? But it's really down to the guard, isn't it? They still allow the guard a discretion whether he wants to use that warning or not. Like, Scatnist, in the years before that, it always rose between about 1.5 to 2,000. Yeah, and I think there was a bit of a drop off there back. Was it around the recession time? I think there was a bit of a drop off. I believe there was a small drop off, but it went straight back up then again. Pods for 420. Pubs close at 5 for feck's sake. 75% of them don't open till that time in rural Ireland. What a joke. Yeah, that's it. Like, guys, they're messing with our ability just to be able to live our lives. Like, what are the government doing? Like, we're allowing them this power to overstep, like, fucking these boundaries even further than what we once have. It's like, first they were telling us we can't consume cannabis, but now it's like, well, it's 5 o'clock, you better stay in, guys. You don't want you to catch a cold or get the COVID. Mad stuff, like, mad fucking stuff, like. And look at this, like, I just, like, this place is in Cork, and for some reason, like, they're popping up on my fucking, my feed all the bloody time. But when they pop up on my feed, I'm just kind of like, what the hell is going on? Like, I can't go to the cinema with my kid because I don't have a vaccine and shit. But meanwhile, these people, like, this was on the 7th of December. Look at that, man. They're all on top of each other, bumper to bumper. Like, that their ability to spread COVID is just as effective as mine, you know? It's just as high as mine. But because they're vaccinated, they're allowed to go in there and jump around like this on top of each other. Like, there's a few people mauling in there as well in one of these photos, like, but not a bother. Like, but you know, if you're not vaccinated, you can't bring your kid to the cinema. It's like, man, what a crazy fucking world. And now we can't go to the pub at 5 o'clock because they allowed this this madness to kind of go on over the last few weeks. That's what was going on. They were allowing all of this going on. The COVID cases are going up. And we're wondering why, like, and in the meanwhile they're trying to blame the unvaccinated, but it's actually the vaccinated guys out there. They're all bumper to bumper. The cases are going through the roof because it's who's getting tested. We're only ever told about like how many. What was it? The case in the ICUs? Is it the unvaccinated? Look, I'm not even going to go into it. I don't want to go into that stuff but it's just crazy shit. Like, don't violate my rights, government. Smoke to that. All right, I'm going to have to start loving you and leaving you guys, but I'll read out a few more comments. There's a good few there, actually. So I mightn't love you and leave you too soon. Endo and Amy, what's happening? Endo and Amy suffers with endometriosis. They're putting ponics if you're still out there. So I don't know if Amy's going to be able to make it down on the 22nd. But she says patients are struggling desperately with various ailments and sadly not always able-bodied enough to show up. A massive projector and Zoom for all patients who can't physically attend could be good. So that is a problem I acknowledge as well, you know, and that's kind of why I'm not making this a patient-only event, as it's putting too much pressure on patients already. You know, why should they be expected to fight for what us healthy people could do? We could just as easily go out there and fight and argue for the patients' rights to be able to use this. And the reason we're out there as healthy people is because we don't want these sick patients to be coming out there. We don't want them to be picking up COVID or colds or anything else that they might pick up by going out in this fucking Irish climate here at the moment. You know, 22nd of December, 4:20 p.m. outside of Brown Thomas. I hope it's not going to be raining. But again, you know, if you're a sick person out there, I don't expect you to be coming down. You know, if you suffer with any debilitating condition, you know, there's no pressure. You're not expected to come down. But I did extend invitations to patients, and I hope they are able to make it. But again, I hope there's more healthy people show up than the patients, because we need to fight for it for the patients. That's what we should be fighting for. That the law is there for us, but it affects them more, because we don't need it for medical necessity. You know what I mean? So this is why we need the healthy people out fighting for it as much as possible, and not putting the patients forward. I always hated that. I hated that side of it. It's like pushing the patients forward. It's just like, no, man. It's like that. You want? I can see, like, oh yeah, we get medical cannabis, and it's going to be easier then to kind of get access to just a wider access. But it's like, no, we fight for wider access, and we get the patients access, and it's like, oh no, but it's easier to get medical. Okay, yeah, but the patient or the healthy people are more able to get out there and engage in the civil disobedience, and that's what's needed. Like, I know we need the heart tear jerkers and the things, but like, what does that really get us? Like, gets us our Epidiolex, it gets us our Sativex and stuff like that, like, which are okay, they're great, like, but does it really get you access to this plant, to be able to grow this plant yourself, and to be able to give it to for yourself, or for your aunt or uncles or whoever else you might need to be able to do it for? So yeah, it's like, it is all about the patients, but they don't always need to be the ones they're fighting for it. Panic says, I know someone who was told they had 2 months to live due to cancer. That was 38 years ago after using cannabis oil to treat it. There goes many stories out there like that too. And it's just a pity that people aren't able to stockpile in this cannabis oil, just in case, you know, for God forbid you ever get that dreaded news some morning, like that you or your loved one might have cancer. You would definitely want to be able to have access to some potent and high quality cannabis oil there, to be able to get daily doses in straight away, to get the levels of cannabinoids needed in the body to the level that is required to be able to kind of get that apoptosis into the high gear, and for all of the other kind of positive effects there as well. But no, we're not allowed to do that. It's like, oh no, you're only allowed 4 plants there. No, in Malta, you're only allowed up to 50 grams. What's the crack with extracts? What if I wanted to literally do what I just said there? Like, I want to have a couple of 100 grams of cannabis oil in the cupboards, just in case somebody or in the fridge, wherever, on the cryogenic storage or something like that, to get it to last. Do you know? Just in case. Just in case. It's like my fucking get out of jail free card, hopefully. Should have the right to do it, shouldn't we? Guru Ganja go 23 days without because of drought. No way. Sorry to hear it out. Oshin as well, similar situation. Endo with Amy says, Kenny's into stories. Had it. He posted on Facebook. It was a screenshot of a text, and the caption was, he was humbled. Oh, nice. Did I miss it over there on Facebook? So. Yes, that is the one. You're spot on, Amy. That was all it was. I am humbled. And it was a text to say from his GP, just to let you know your recent MRI didn't show any change from the previous scan. Everything looks stable. Regards, Dr. Brody. And guys, just to put it out there, you know, Kenny had to relinquish his medical cannabis license because he couldn't afford the prescription. You know? Shame on the government to be doing this, like, you know, and he can't legally be able to grow this plant in himself. He's a criminal if he does. So he's relying on other people to do it for him, and he gets access from those people, and it's fucking shameful, man. Thanks for that, Amy. And John as well. Nice one, John. John just got it into the to the chats there as well, or into the comments over on Facebook. It's your boy Sheen. I sent a strongly worded tweet to Holt and Tony this morning. Good stuff, it's your boy. A lot of people out there just snapping, dude. Man Falls, what's happening? They're getting the feek. Leave him at it. Yeah. I've no hard feelings against them, man. I just think if they're able to go out there and do that, like, surely I should be able to bring my kid to the cinema. Like, surely I should be able to bring my kid to the swimming pool. Like, you know, it's like, what the hell, like? Sorry if you keep saying like. Papa Gummy Bear. It's easier for them to tell everyone stay home and stare at the screen because they don't want to fix the fucking health system. That is a big problem. That is a big problem with the current situation. You know, the health system is a atrocious mess. Like, it really is. It has many benefits. You know, some great people working within it, guys. I've met some amazing people over the last couple of months and 2 years, I suppose, years. You know, going in and out of the hospital with my kids up in the kids ward. Man, some tremendous nurses up there. You know what I mean? Couldn't speak any more highly of them. No, I've met some 1 or 2 bad ones, but it's only been that. It's only been 1 or 2 bad ones, you know. And even that, they weren't really that bad. I can imagine when I say bad ones, they were just probably, you know, just overburdened by the system, you know, where they're overworked, and therefore, you know, that they're not giving you the kind of reception you would expect from a nurse, you know, where they would maybe be polite and a bit more well-mannered or something like that, you know, just a bit more accommodating and stuff, like the others are, like, you know, the other 99% of them that I've met, you know, my kids and my own situation as well, having epilepsy, so, yeah, you know, but the system that they're working in, what a mess, you know. And what it is, look what we had your man Slimy Harris, one of our health ministers, Micheál Martin, you know, our current Taoiseach, you know, he was a health minister there at one point in time. The current health minister, you know, Stephen, I was going to legalise cannabis, but then I got power to do it, so I'm not going to do it, Donnelly. That's a very long middle name he has, like, but that's his middle name now. Stephen, I was going to legalise cannabis, but I got the power to do it, but no, so I'm not. So no, I'm not, Donnelly. But yeah, you know, these guys, like, you know, they're that's why the system is the way it is. You know? And I thought it was always funny, you know, that we had Mary Harney as a health minister at the time. It was like the joke at the time. I think I was in like secondary school. It's like, she's our health minister, but like, she's the picture of health. And what was the other one, you know, where there was the was it the German fucking health minister? And she looked like that fucking creature out of Star Wars. It's like these are our health ministers, and it's just like, you know, go back to Phil Monk, you know, if you want to get conspiratorial about it, like, is it purposefully done like that, like? Are the powers that be, is there like an elite malevolent force out there purposefully putting these people into power so that they can just fucking wreck the system? I seen somebody tweet that there. I think it was a tweet or a Facebook post, and it's just like the elite that run the world, you know, they purposely put people like Boris Johnson in there to kind of say, hey, look, we can put idiots in power and you can do nothing about it. It's just like rubbing into people's face, like, you know, that's kind of a post that was put up there by somebody, and I just thought it was funny. Like, I was just kind of like, you know, if it was true, that's fucking hilarious. That's like some power move. I'm gonna put the most idiotic person, a Humpty Dumpty, exactly. I'm gonna put the most idiotic person into power, and you're gonna do nothing about it, like, you know. Potent Panic says, I did an episode on THC tachycardia being caused by the vaccine with an in-person interview with a first-hand victim. Ooh, that's very interesting. I hadn't come across that, Potent Panic, so I will be very interested in going over, having a look at that. Because, like, my situation, guys, and, like, to put it out there, why I'm not getting the vaccine is because my dad had a heart attack at 38. His dad's dad died of a heart attack at a young age, 55. I think it was 55. So for me, it's like, I've always been looking after my heart. I'm always conscious about my heart. I'm hearing blood clots. I'm hearing fucking tachycardia, or what's that? Not tachycardia. What's the thing? There's something out there to do with the fucking vaccine, and like younger population having a high propensity for myocardia. Was that the one? But yeah, it's like that's my reason why I'm not getting the vaccine. I'm not like anti-vax or anything like that. I've got all the other vaccines. Do you know, like, I've gotten vaccinated for all the other shit. Like, I don't regularly get the flu vaccine. I'm like fit and healthy, man. I got my immune system to keep me healthy. And if I get the flu, it's cool. It's not that bad. I just stay home and won't spread that shit around or whatever. Like, but yeah, I'm not anti-vax guy. But this current thing, like, I don't even recognize it like as a vax. Like, I'm kind of that party. I think it's like, if I can believe it's the mRNA technology. It's like gene technology type stuff. It's like, it's not the as we would have known it previously, vaccines, where it was, what do they call it? Like, fucking there's a word there for it. I can't remember the word that's there for it. Like, but where they used an inactive part of the virus, where your body is just able to recognize it, and then therefore develops the antibodies to respond to that in kind, but the virus is kind of like that's all it's able to do. It can't actually elicit the normal responses that you would have got. So yeah, that's just my explaining of it. In case anybody's just like, oh, this guy's anti-vaxxer. I'm not anti-vaxxer. Nope. But this thing's not a vaccine. Daily Talker, what is the title of the video? You mentioned potent panics. Nice one, good question. Which video, Daily Talker? The episode about the tachycardia, of course. He says, as Shore Growing with Fishes podcast episode 247. So nice, that's a lot of episodes you have there as well. So that you've been doing this for quite some time as well, potent panics. So I'm quite an amateur here. I'm at this about a year and a half. And have no experience in broadcasting or media or anything like that before this, so all new to me. So hopefully I'm not doing too bad. He says there's a direct link between the vaccine and THC triggered tachycardia, especially for concentrates. Whoa. What's that mean for patients then? Like, that's interesting, you know, if you rely on cannabis as a form of medicine, and, you know, you're also maybe got a weakened immune system for some reason, you know, whatever it might be, the condition you have. What's the situation there then? Like, you know what I mean? That's a bad one. I reckon that might be a situation that the victim you were talking to might have been an actual patient, is it? And possibly. End up with Amy says, I'm on the same anti-sickness meds as chemo patients, so arguably I should be entitled to the same cannabis meds too under the MCAP. Interesting. Yeah, there's definitely an argument to be made for that. It's not the case currently under the current guidelines, but I know Gino is going to be kind of launching a campaign, sadly next year, waiting until next year to launch that campaign. It's like, you should have been campaigning now, dude. But he's going to be doing a series of events next year and arguing for wider access, including pain and stuff like that under MCAP. So hopefully he will, you know, be able to do something there for people with endometriosis again, you know, for you know, whatever it might be. I think like with your own conditions, like pain. So if he gets pain, that's the box kind of sorted for yourself. But I know yourself, Amy, when you were on the podcast with myself, when we done the interview with you, the interview with Amy, if you want to check that one out, guys. Amy was telling me about a treatment that was being researched or developed in, I can't remember where it was. I think you might have said Barcelona. Where they were actually like almost, I think you said like it wasn't just a treatment, like a lifelong treatment. It was like they were actually kind of reversing the condition in some way with cannabis. So check that interview out, guys. So yeah, again, Amy, hopefully they do get better access there for yourself. Potent panics, I know a dozen people with that issue. And John Finnegan says, pub's closing at 8 p.m. now. So it's 8 p.m, John, yeah? So you get in a quick one. And the boys will be sculling the pints down in West Cork. The old country pubs. And John, yeah, I know you're not down in West Cork, John. It's just when I'm thinking of country pubs there, somebody mentioned country pubs a while ago. Papa Gummy Bear, definitely at Martin. I meant because we have no capacity to deal with the C word, because they've been taking away resources left, right, and blind. And everybody's getting censored who talks about that stuff too. Like, it's mad. Like, I think there's a big problem there within the health system as well. And there doesn't really seem to be that many people talking about it, you know. We all go out, we done a clap for the nurses. It's like, it's great. And then what did we see there about a week or two later? It's like they're not paying the student nurses. It's like, what? You're not going to pay the student nurses? Ah, you scumbags. It's like, pay them a fair wage. Like, I've been up there, guys. I went up one time because I thought I was after having a heart attack, but apparently I just pulled the muscle in my chest. And again, going back to being heart conscious and shit like that. And because of my dad's and my dad's history, my granddad's history with hearts, they kept me in overnight. And I met a student nurse in there while I was there, and I was chatting away to her. She was very nice. And I was just kind of like, you know, like I seen she was doing a lot of work around the thing, and I just happened to ask, you know, because she was wearing I think it was like a different uniform or something like that. So I asked her, I was like, oh, you student nurse? And she's like, yeah, I am. I was like asking her all the things. I was just like, John, do you get paid for this? And she's like, no. It's like, what? Not getting paid? It's like, in doing a full-time job, 9 to 5. You know, she was probably in there from 8 that morning, 8 till whatever the clock out time might have been. She didn't get paid for none of it. None of it. Like, and she was probably going part-time work, and later on, I think she said she was working at a pub or something like that, a local pub down in our back home in West Cork, actually. So, you know, crazy, like, what these nurses go through. Scatna says, American's World Drug Science podcast just had an episode with release from NI. Let's ask them to add Stephen Donnelly to their prohibitionist who once took drugs cards game, if he's not already on it. Nice. Prohibitionist who once took drugs card game. I haven't heard about this. Somebody else mentioned something about a game from release the other day. They're re-releasing something. I know I can't find it yet. Maybe they don't have it up yet. Nope, I ain't finding that. Anything on images? Nope. Darn it. Thought they might have had something up there, you know, just to kind of announce it. Scatness, we'll certainly send an email anyway. Let's get Donnelly onto it. Yeah, myocarditis, nice one, John. I seen that there, nice one. Pericarditis says Chilbert. Daily Talker says I'm anti-COVID. Yeah, me too. I'm against COVID. I think that's safe to say, isn't it? I think like that's the whole world is like anti-COVID. Like the only people who were like I know who were pro-COVID was like Cartman on South Park, and that was the funniest fucking episode. Like he was like fucking not wanting to go to school and shit like that. And there was cases of that like kind of happening in the UK actually as well, which was fairly funny. There was kids over there like using like Diet Coke or something like that in order to get false positives on their antigen tests, and then like whole classes were having to stay at home for like 2 weeks, parents having to self-isolate and shit like that. So there's definitely people out there who are probably pro-COVID, but not for the sick reasons people might think. It's just more because I can stay at home now for school. It's like, this is dECEMBER, COVID's great. Mom, I have a cough there. Went to school and to start coughing. Go on. Man, I can guarantee you, if 12-year-old, 13-year-old me was live right now, like in this kind of era, I would be milking this shit out of this. I guarantee I would be like getting days off of school like all the time. I'd be getting the all sorts of. I'd be definitely getting in trouble for it too. I'd probably get caught. Yeah, Endo and Amy says Barcelona. Yeah, they were shrinking endometrial lesions with THC. It's the most aggressive benign disease there is, and mostly compared to cancer, the pain and other symptoms are greatly alleviated with sufficient cannabis routine. Thanks as always for being a voice for such a wide variety in the cannabis community, in the canna community. Not a bother at all, Amy. I'm more than happy to be able to represent all of those out there who need access to this. And yeah, I can remember you being on it and describing it. You know, it's like for us guys, imagine getting a kick in the balls and multiply it by 100 or 2, and it's probably still not anywhere close to the pain that Amy was describing that time. And cannabis is great; it alleviates that, and Amy's not allowed to grow that plant herself. Amy's a criminal if she grows that plant herself. Amy's a criminal if she gets that plant from somebody else who might have grown it for her, or a piece of that plant. So that's sick. So that motivates me. That allows me to kind of go down there and make these make these brownies, go down there, give them out for free, because if I have to go to prison for this, it's a small price to pay to bring attention to a change that needs to happen in the society, because people like Amy shouldn't be suffering out there. It's unnecessary, and it's all because of this prohibition that the prohibitionists support. Scatness, that's how you burn out your healthcare workers, 100%, dude. DB, did you cover your mouth while sneezing as per HSE recommendations? You did a little sneeze emoji, I think, was there. Scatness says the episode is number 52 with nEWS Eastwood. Nice one. I'll have to put that one on my to watch list in a minute. Nice one, Scatness. Guru Ganja Goat, or no, Scatness says I think she said the card game will be available again in the new year. Nice one. And Guru Ganja Goat says pro-COVID, big pharma and governments. you pro all of those things? Is that what you're saying, Guru Ganji God? If so, I think that's where we're going to cut ties. Jocks. Papa Gummy Bear says, that's sickening, man. They should be paid. It's a perfect example of the misuse and a waste of human resources in the system. Entire departments with no consultants to run them and people left to die. Yeah. And meanwhile, we afford our Gardaí 326 full-time personnel to go out there as part of Operation Tara to target us drug users. Do you know? But we won't pay our nurses. We won't pay the student nurses. And even the nurses do get paid. I'd say it's probably a paltry amount of money compared to what we pay our politicians for what we get in return. Like, think of what we get in return for our nurses and our politicians, and think of what we pay those people for the work they do. The two don't equate to each other. It's like what we get back from our government and what we get back from our nurses, it's like here and there. It's like, you know, sorry, like the cameras here, the government are down here, the nurses are up here in terms of the reward we get as a society from them. What it costs for them, the nurses are probably is down here. Our government is probably fucking, you know, it's sky high what the government costs us. So yes, guys, I'm pro nurses. I'm pro public healthcare as well. I'm not against private healthcare per se, but I just don't believe it needs to exist in the way that it currently exists in our society. I do definitely think we have an uneven system. It's a two-tier system there that's it's messed up. Papa Gummy Bear, that's sickening, man. They should be paid. Oh yeah, sorry, I just read that one. It just bumps back in front of me. Guru Ganja God has a lovely joke here, guys. A patient asked a doctor, when will COVID end? The doctor replies, I don't know, I'm not a politician. Yes, love it, Ganja. Scatness says their site is release.org.uk. They provide legal services to marginalised groups for drug charges. I didn't know about them before, but they seem to be doing amazing work. Yeah, I'm a long-time follower of nEWS Eastwood, actually, and a couple of others over there on Twitter. Transform have our Release and Transform have done some great stuff over there in the UK. I believe I've kind of shown them up here on the podcast as well a few times in the past. But yeah, Release, I remember Release, actually. We got a load of great stuff off them back in 2016 when we were doing Students for Sensible Drug Policy. It was like a Know Your Rights card, I think it was at the time, and it was a small little pocket size like card, and it folded out then, and it kind of told you what to do when interacting with the authorities. It was based upon UK, but it was still relevant to Irish society in some ways, except the laws they were referencing. But yeah, they've done some great stuff in the past. Stephen Daly says, if one was caught growing cannabis here in Ireland with the new laws in Malta, when brought to court, could they not argue to the judge that they demand the same rights as other European citizens? 100%, Stephen. I don't think we even needed Malta to do it. I think we should all be growing our own cannabis, and if you got caught, you were just saying, look, I was just exercising my rights to be able to grow and consume this plant, and that you don't want to engage with the criminal market, but you were exercising your rights to be able to grow and consume these plants as a human should be, and they're violating your rights as stated in the European human rights, that we all have a right to privacy, and that gets violated all the time when these guys enter our home and take away our cannabis for no reason other than we've had cannabis in our home. That's a violation of our privacy under the false pretense, again, to go back to Phil Monk's kind of description of it, of public safety. It's not in public safety for them to have the right to kick in my front door and to be able to take me away from my kids. That's not in the interest of public safety. Others out there, Scatna says, basically the service we've been talking about a few times that we need in Ireland. Maybe they are willing to expand into the Republic. No, I think we've got some good groups here in Ireland. Maybe the like Citywide, Anna Liffey Drug Project. There's some good groups up there as well. I know they're fighting for the more extreme cases, but I believe that through these groups we can definitely argue for the ending of prohibition. I know Anna Quigley is great, and there's a lot of controversy around her at the moment. Like I'm not too sure if any of you've seen that stuff that's going on over there. There was a big kind of thread I shared over on Twitter from Senator Lynn Ruane. I think it was from Senator Lynn Ruane anyway, about how the services are being just messed up above there in Dublin, especially because of the appointment of Anna Quigley to the role of chairperson of I think it was the Clontarfin, or what was the name of that place? Anyway, it was the North Dublin Inner City Task Force, I think it was. One of the task force above in Dublin anyway. There was controversy because of her appointment there, and I agree with that it was because of a disagreement there on ideologies. Anna Quigley is probably a supporter there of the ending of prohibition in order to better help those people afflicted with the problem of drug addiction, because she sees the secondary knock on it, the secondary harm there with prohibition in place for people addicted to drugs. Clontarf, is that the one? I see somebody say Clontarf there as well. So I think some of the public servants above there, and I think it was a public servant, I think that was Senator Lynn Ruane who pointed it out, as a single public servant who has their own personal position, bias or dislike of Anna Quigley because of those views. I would believe it's because of those views. She didn't say it in the tweet. I'm putting that in there myself. But I do think that it's because of the views there, and they didn't want her appointed to the drug task force as a chairperson then. So now it's the HSC, the drugs departments and stuff like that. They're not engaging now with the drugs task force as they should be, and there's like a kind of a lawsuit. I think there's a case being brought but against them or something like that. There's just something bubbling there under the surface anyway. Like it's not right what's going on up there. They recently released a statement above there. Actually, I think that was the drug task force who released the recent statistics there, where it was like a 253% increase in drug overdoses in the last 20 years or 10 years. Also, like there was some crazy statistics. I think it was like 10,000% increase in cocaine addiction, or cocaine use. Sorry, cocaine use, I think was what they'd put it down to. But yeah, they're not being engaged with now at all with the other services, so effectively they're just kind of just left adrift now. They're not effective in their duties. Papa Gummies here says privatising everything, sell it off to their buddies. I see that too. But what's happening, GB? Welcome to the show, boy. Sticking around a long one today, guys. We're just hitting the 3-hour mark, guys. I didn't think that be possible really when I started off doing these things, that I'd be doing 3-hour long fucking podcasts here all on my own, well, with the audience too, because that's what the majority of the show was today, was just shooting the breeze with yourselves, and it's great to be able to do that. Sorry guys, hit this stuff. Thanks for that offer there, Puttin' Ponics. Puttin' Ponics says if I ever need a contact for guests, happy to help. Legend. Thanks very much for that. Yeah, LMK, let me know. My small one is educating me on a lot of these things, because she's 8. My daughter is 8, and she'd be like, what would she say? GN, Dad, GN. And I'd be like, GN? What are you saying? Good night, Dad, good night. I was like, oh, all right. So she's playing like that game Roadblocks at the moment. She's obviously chatting with people through it, her cousin and stuff. So they're learning a lot of shorthand now and all single letters. I'm telling you, it's the end of the form of communication that we once knew. We're going to be communicating with one-letter words in the future. So yeah, that just reminded me of that there, was when I seen LMK. It took me a second to try to read. Let me know. Yeah. Guru Ganjigo had my wedding cake alone. Best way to have my cake and eat it too. Nice, Guru. Hopefully that was nice and tasty, that wedding cake. John Finnegan says government in Ireland is called NFIT. NFIT. Puttin' Panic says US has private healthcare or you just die. Guys, like as bad as our Irish healthcare system is, like we're very lucky we're not in the US, because like honestly that is crazy. I've seen some of the bills come out of US hospitals there. People are being charged like fucking, what was it, like $500 for what was it, a sneeze assistance or something like that, and it was like a tissue. Some crazy stuff like over there. But it's messed up because of the insurance companies. The insurance companies, for years, the hospitals were able to charge the insurance companies whatever, pretty much kind of what they wanted for stuff, and they never really had to kind of prove the cost of things. And over the years, that just escalated out of control, where the insurance companies are just paying out hand over fist there to the hospitals for stuff like that. And then you, as a public patient, then coming in as a non-private patient and having to pay out of your own pocket, then you get screwed royally because of that system then, because everything now is overpriced, way overpriced. Like, you know, something that would cost you 50 cent there in the chemist down the road would be costing you a couple of £100 there through the hospital in America. Papa Gummy here says, my starting wage in a call centre for an American company 5 years ago was more than a qualified nurse. And as I said, the nurses, they're really they're a treasure in our country, and they're incredibly undervalued. They really are. Like, our government take them for granted, they abuse them, and I think it's shameful. That was a part of my campaign when I ran for government as an independent candidate here in Cork North Central. I wanted better paying conditions for nurses. I wanted there to be more nurses as well, in order to reduce the workload of the nurses, because again, as a service user of those hospitals, I've seen firsthand how the immense pressure they're put under, a weight on them, and it impacted upon their effectiveness to carry out their duties, and that then impacted upon the quality of service there for the patients, which affects the speed of the recovery, which increases the time a person spends in hospital. So for me, I always argue we need to fucking have them well staffed, well paid, well looked after, you know, plenty of breaks too, like, and plenty of nurses there to be able to fill those breaks there too, because we don't want them to be burnt the fuck out, like. But yeah, annoys me. Anthony Mooney, look up Neil Sanders in Indie Journal, doing amazing work exposing the players behind the misinfo campaigns the last couple of years. Nice one, Anthony Mooney. We'll have a look for this guy later. Neil Sanders, guys, that's who he said there. Papa Gummy Bear shows where the priorities are. It wasn't that much. Daily Talker says, let's pack something up. CG, in the UK, Theresa May's husband grows over 45 acres of cannabis. However, Joe, blogs cannot grow one plant. That's the hypocrisy that exists. It is. That's the hypocrisy that exists out there in the system. They don't have enough money for fucking for us to be able to get to be able to run in a proper society. But meanwhile, what is it there? Was it Leo Varadkar? Is it like he gets to keep his police thing, even though he's like not the Taoiseach anymore? Was that not the controversy there? Even though it costs us, the taxpayer, like fucking multiple thousands of euros. Oh, 420, guys, I missed it, but it's 424 somewhere. So what's 424? Blaze on up, guys. Yes, let's blaze one up. It's been like a half an hour there since I said I'd do the last one. I'll have to make it up to the guys at the Patients for Safe Access for missing tonight's meeting. I really just got, the time got away on me. But it was a good show. I really enjoyed the conversations here, guys. It was great back and forth. Great banter happening out in the comment section there in the hot box. In a nice festive hot box. Oh, we got the 8472 back in the grinder today. Changing it up. Or sorry, no, not A4. Oh yeah, A472. I just grinded that up. Yeah, there was purple godbud in there earlier. Yes, a little bit of A472 there. Comments. So many. DB Woodcraft, Helen McEntee was on Today FM talking about hiring more Gardaí, but was questioned more about COVID restrictions, etc. What is the deal with ministers not concentrating on their own jobs, i.e. Frank and company? Yeah, I was actually listening to the radio the other day, and Helen McEntee was on it, and it pissed me off listening to her, because you know what she was talking about? She was talking about spiking. And who gets spiked, guys? Who gets spiked with drugs more? It's women. You know, it's the vulnerable people in our society. Not saying all women are vulnerable, but most likely it's a guy targeting a woman, and the guy will roofie or whatever drug he has the woman. And she was on reminding people, you know, you can get 3 years for that. I was just sitting there in my car, like, I was just like, you fucking scumbag. Like, why even like mentioning that? Like, that should be 10 years. Like, if you're a sick individual and you're going to spike somebody, and if you're proper caught, like, you know, obviously I think it needs to be really proven, like, before you give somebody 10 years for that, because people can make all sorts of accusations. Like, needs to be solid evidence. Don't want people getting locked up for things that they might not have done. But yeah, 10 years, man. If you're a sick individual and you want to like roofie a lady and take her home, take advantage of her in that state, like, oh man, you should, like, in life, that should be, you should be just locked up. But no, we reserve that for the guys who got more than €13,000 worth of cannabis or other drugs. It's like, that's 10 years minimum mandatory. Where's the minimum mandatory if you're a rapist? Where's the minimum mandatory for murder? Where? Like, there's none. Where's the minimum mandatory if you're a paedophile? Like, there's not. There should be. I think there should be minimum mandatories. I really do think there should be minimum mandatories for things like that, and I don't think the judges should be trusted, and because they've been shown time and time again, guys. You see some sick individuals come before judges, and they get off with a slap in the wrist, you know, a bit of community service. Some of our own judges, I don't know if some of you might remember, but was there not a judge there about 10, 20 years ago or something? He got caught with thousands of child pornography images. Child abuse images. Kids can't partake in pornography. It's child abuse images. And that's what he got caught with. And like, do you think they're going to go down hard on him? I can't remember what that guy got at the time, but I know that their own buddies get in with it, so maybe there's a reason why they go lenient on it. So I do think there needs to be minimum mandatories there, because I think they're too like nice to these guys. To drug users, like you see Sean O'Donovan hates drug users. There was a guy in front of Sean O'Donovan, Judge Sean O'Donovan, and he had a shovel and a rope. He had threatened to rape the woman in her own home and make her daughter watch, I think is what was said in the letter, or something like that. The Gardaí caught this guy outside of her house with the shovel and rope. And I think he got like a 4-year sentence or a 5-year sentence with like 2 years suspended or some shit like that. Sickening stuff. Like, he should be getting 10 years, like, easy, like 20 years. Like, that guy had some fucking malice intent. Like, he set out like that night to do some serious bad stuff, and our law would punish him less than a person getting caught with, like, that guy who got caught with 260,000. Let's see how he fares out in May, like, you know? Sickening. Lock them up and cut their balls off. But yeah, that annoyed me when I heard Helen McEntee kind of going on about the fact that they only get they get 3 years, and giving it out as a warning. They're just like, stop, like, seriously. These guys are sicker individuals. Like, they don't care about how many years they're going to get for their crime. They're going to do it anyway. Like, so just make it a minimum mandatory and take them fucking out of the loop for a couple of years. Like, don't need these people out there. But people like me, well, who am I a threat to? Like, but meanwhile, if I got caught with more than 13,000, like, it's 10-year minimum mandatory, apparently. I know it doesn't get applied, but still, it's there. It exists. Scatnast, well, we also call at Green Bear GB and Green Tea GT, aren't we? Well, that's true, actually, isn't it? I kind of just go on with the flow, really. Like, otherwise I would have been calling them Green Bear all the time. But yeah, we do say GB. Lazy fuckers. Let's blaze this up anyway, guys. I'm sitting here holding it. Three hours and 10 minutes, guys. That's like a record show, I'd say, today. It's fucking Joe Rogan shit, boy. Not really, but Guru Ganja go calling me legend as well. Nice one, Ganja. Nice one. James Clary says the nurses are now sadly being used to carry out a sinister sterilisation operation. That comes in there from James in the audience. Yeah, I'm not too sure what the story is there. I've seen people saying that. I'm not sold on that kind of theory just yet. But again, like Outlaw, give me once the evidence is there, I'll believe it. But I haven't known anybody who's becoming fertile as of yet. as I said, as of yet. Pots for 420, man, these politicians are so far away from reality, it's sickening. So far, man. GB says, well, the dinner at Oma has just arrived. And couldn't have come sooner. In fact, Marvin. Starving Marvin he is. Catch y'all later. Enjoy the dinner there, Greenbird. See what it is? See? Greenbird. I'm using all now. You're not going to be lazy. See loads of people using GB though. But CG then spells it like GB with loads of E's. Like defeats the purpose of GB then, doesn't it? Pots for 420 as well. Letters GB. Manfall says, you must have some tolerance, Martin. Of a very high tolerance. Not even reaching for that drum. I'm going to press the wrong one. My label fell off it. Guru Ganja Goat says, Joe Rogan got nothing in you, Martin. He's been bought. You will never be. No, I'm not for sale, dude. I'm not for sale. I don't believe any human beings should be for sale. Don't agree with that stuff. Blista, nearly forgot to like. Yeah, guys, hit that like button. There's a couple of you over there, still 31 of you over there on YouTube. I imagine not all of you are here since the beginning, as we're like 3 hours and 10 minutes, but I know a good few of you are, guys. Shout out to Billy Bonds there in the audience, Guru Ganja Goat, John Finnegan as well. He says John Finnegan says you may as well go for the 4 hours and 20 minutes now, Martin. I got on the Extraction fan. I clear out the room there and we get Alexis up and we finish off the last hour or so with some gaming. No, Alexis is after abandoning us tonight. She's having a sleepover with her auntie. So it's just me, Elijah, and our big sister here tonight. And Mammy Dearest. Nice one for all the comments, guys. I really appreciate it. John Finnegan says, sod the knob. He is indeed. He is indeed. Yes. I suppose, guys, will we leave it there, will we? I don't see too many comments. I think we're up to date there now in the comments. Sean and Duggan, enjoying the show. It's great. Excellent, guys. I've been enjoying it too. It's been great crack. I was enjoying it so much. As I said, I missed my meeting with the Patients for Safe Access. Completely forgot the fact that it's Friday. So that was my bad. I'll be sending them an email shortly just to explain that. They'll see that. They'll be on here. They'll see. They'll be just like, oh yeah, Martin's still streaming. What's happening, cuz? My cousin out there in the audience, Shane Hamilton. What's going on? This your first time catching a live stream, Shane? I was working in the tires, dude. You're under severe pressure. Get it? Hey. Martin cracking serious jokes there. Sean M, what's happening? DV Woodcraft says, gotta go edit a video later. What's up? See you later, DV. We'll be signing off here as well shortly. Gotta go hang out with Elijah there now for the rest of the evening. John Finnegan says, see you at 9 p.m, Martin. Yeah, we'll see you in the chat room over on the High and Homegrown there in an hour and a half. Teresa says, another great show, Martin. Thanks very much. Not a bother at all, Teresa. And thanks you very much for your viewership, guys. It's always great to be able to present this to an audience. I would have been finished like fucking 2 hours ago if I didn't have an audience. So it's great, you know. Like, this is what you mean to me. I'm more than happy to be able to give up this time, because this is therapy for me, guys. You know, it really is. I have to say, this is a therapy for me to be able to sit down here and shoot breeze with so many other like-minded people, because we need this. We need to be able to socialise with one another. And I do believe that that's the necessity that's there to end this prohibition, because it's bad for our mental health to be so divided. I know many of you have said the same thing. It's like, Martin, I didn't have anybody really that I could kind of relate to until I found your audience, your show, and then your audience through your show, you know. So like, that's so worth the while. So I'm more than happy to do this time, and maybe John Finnegan, we will get that 420 show in someday, but not today. Guru Ganjigo says pressure is only for tires. Yeah, but he works in a tire place, so that was the whole joke. Yeah. I love it. Billy Bonds says, thanks, Martin. High and Homegrown. Smoke up later for sure, Billy Bonds. But gotta go hang out with the rest of the family now for a bit. Others out there, Guru Ganjigo says therapy for us as well, Martin. Yeah, that's it, guys. We're all looking after each other. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. Barry Fields. Bye, guys. Yes, bye, Daily Talker. See you later, Scatnist. See you later, Rasher. Yes, Rasher, we're just signing off there. 3 hours, 15 minutes now into the stream. So we will say goodbye, but you will be able to watch it back. All of these shows are always up online anyway. Nice one for tuning in as well. Potent Panics, if you're still out there. Nice one as well, Man Falls. I see Man Falls still tuning in over there on Twitch as well. It's always good to be able to see that one or two happening over on Twitch. See you later, Barry Fields. Peace out, Amy. Have a nice evening. Jan Phantom, catch you later. Guru as well. Blista, catch you later. Anybody else I might have missed? Scatnist, DB Woodcraft, catch you later. Shane, if you're still out there, dude, catch you later, cuz. Teresa, John, bye bye. For everybody out there in the audience, stay blazed, guys. Keep it lit and be safe, guys. You know, you don't want to be popping up here on the 420 news at all. Unless it's good news, you know. So stay blazed. Bye bye. Peace.